This special presentation on Wildcats Radio 1290. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Wildcats really could use a stop here. Gaffney, he'll lean in for three. He's got it. Gaffney now with the hot hand here in the second overtime.
Arizona coming off a loss at the hands of Florida Atlantic over in Las Vegas at the Desert Classic, and it is the beginning of the final Pac-12 college basketball season for your Wildcats. Welcome to the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show. I'm David Kelly, joined as always by the captain, Kelvin Ifan, class of 1998, producer extraordinaire, basketball aficionado, J.W. Madden, also joining us, Arizona and California in Berkeley tonight to start things out for this 2023-24 conference campaign. 2 games before the end of this calendar year. The other 18 will come in 2024. Arizona looking to bounce back from their loss to Florida Atlantic on last Saturday in Las Vegas, and the Golden Bears of California under new leadership, Mark Madsen, the legendary Stanford Cardinal, Los Angeles Laker, taking over that program and hoping to turn their fortunes around, but off to a little bit of a slow start in this first year of the Madsen era as the Golden Bears enter today's game at a mere 4-7 on this season. We've got you for the next 3 hours leading you up to this tip-off tonight at 8:30. Let's give you an indication right off the top of the show what you can expect here for the next 3 hours.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right. We've got, of course, a lot of things happening today. We're going to talk to Justin Allegri. He is the voice of the California Golden Bears. He'll give you your scouting report. Brian Peterson from AZ Desert Swarm is going to join us today for our view from courtside. We'll review the loss to Florida Atlantic, get you set and knowledgeable on the California Golden Bears. Take a look at the Pac-12 and college basketball scoreboard for today. Tell you who that bear that might get underneath the Wildcats' skin is. The pest of the game brought to you by University Pest and Termite Control. Best bets, of course. Arizona enters this one as a 14-point favorite over the Golden Bears. Keys to the game, starting lineups, all of that is straight ahead in the next 3 hours. Welcoming into the program, the captain, Kelvin Ifan. And Captain, see, I still got that score up there from last night from the football game. Yeah. If you're watching on one of our many video streams, Arizona beating the Oklahoma Sooners by a score of 38-24. Did you get enough rest to get ready to turn your mind to basketball, or are we still rejoicing, Kelvin, in that tremendous football win from last night?
Definitely didn't get enough rest, but yeah, rejoicing
neither
for sure.
did I.
You have to. It's been years since we've been able to celebrate like this with a good bowl victory. So now celebrating, got my It's Personal shirt on still.
There you
right
go.
Well, no.
Make it personal.
Making it personal,
Yeah.
right here. So, man, still excited about that. But, again, it right into basketball. That's how it used to be. I played football and basketball back-to-back seasons, so I would go right over and have a game on Tuesday, right after the game on Saturday.
So it was no rest for the weary. You didn't take a week off. You just went right from football to basketball.
Yeah, because basketball
kind of like high school, when the football season ends. And you're right in there. You're right into, if you're playing both those sports, you're right into practice for basketball the next day.
You got to go. You got to get back in there and knock that football rust off so you can get into your basketball shape. So, I'm right back at it. Right, the next day is go time.
Yeah, well, you heard that shot by Gaffney there. And again, Florida Atlantic came into that ball game ranked 14th in the country. And took the Wildcats to double overtime to win it by a score of 96 to 95. Tommy Lloyd, after that ball game, asked if the contest against Florida Atlantic felt like a NCAA tournament game.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we told our guys, these are the types of teams you're going to play once you make a deep tournament run. And I mean, they're an incredible team, incredibly well coached, and they have some really good players. And that number one kid, he was nails, and then there were veterans, around him that made some other good plays. So all in all, I mean, that was a fun, exciting game, a great experience for us. Obviously, we would have liked maybe one more play to go our way, but we're going to be better for this. And, that's why we set up this schedule. And, I didn't set up the schedule to go undefeated. I mean, if our guys found a way to win all the games, I would have been really proud of them. But I am super proud of them. These guys did an incredible job and showed tremendous character today. I mean, we were down 3 different times, especially after being up big in the first half. And, they made some runs, and then we kind of weathered the storm a little bit and found a way to get back in the game and really draw even both times. And, we had good shots down the end of each one of those, I guess regulation and overtime scenarios that I feel good about.
Tommy Lloyd, the head coach of your Arizona Wildcats, talking about that loss to Florida Atlantic. It was one in which the Wildcats led early on by double digits, and the Owls just kind of kept pecking away at that lead throughout the ball game.
Good one.
Yeah. Owls pecking, yeah, all that kind of thing.
Got it.
I try to make.
You don't try, man. You do a great job with it.
Well, I don't know about that, but yeah. So it was a game of runs for sure in that contest. Said Caleb Love.
That's just how the game was going. We started up kind of on them in the first half, first few minutes of the game, and they came back in their little run, and it was just kind of back and forth from there. It's a game of runs in basketball, and so they were hats off to them. They executed some of their plays. They had big time players to make big time shots. So unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the stick, but this definitely, like Coach said, will help us going into conference play. It's
a game of runs, but especially, Kelvin, when you got 14 out of 15 players returning from a Final Four run.
Man, I mean, because that's tough to beat, man. I mean, to be there with 1 point, man. I mean, one more bucket and basically you win, or one more stop and you win. That's a positive thing. I know it sucks. I mean, of course, you want to win every game, as Coach said, but you have to be proud of these guys because they were very resilient versus a team full of nothing but veterans that's been there.
Yeah, I mean, and it was, again, it was a number of guys that made shots for that team in Florida Atlantic. You heard Tommy Lloyd mention number one. Number one was John L. Davis, who had a career game, 35 points, 15 of 27 from the floor in the contest, grabbed 9 rebounds as well. Janelle Davis, just a really impressive. And Tommy asked afterward if you just kind of tip your cap to a guy like that who's making shots.
Hey, he shot one that he shot some big time ones, but he also had one that was like a layup on the left side that he shot and it came out of his hand. I thought it had no chance, and somehow it hit below the rim and crawled over the rim. And Caleb has a dunk and a layup. I mean, I'm probably going to take the dunk or the layup over that shot, but like that's how the ball goes sometimes. And he's a really, really good player. I mean, he's got a poise about him, and he knows where he can pick and choose his spots, and he's got tremendous confidence. So I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, I mean, Janelle Davis, a young man that we've seen, you kind of pick and choose those guys on every team that Arizona plays that really kind of stand out to you. He was one of those guys that for sure stands out amongst the players. If you were, I guess, going to create an all-star team or maybe an all-American team of the guys we've seen thus far in the games that Arizona's played, I think Janelle Davis would be one of those guys that might be on it.
Yeah, for sure. And also the couple guys, what's their name again, J-Dub, from, what's that, Purdue?
Purdue, yeah, Zach Edey.
The two
And the
guards.
two guards,
Not
the two
even
Fletcher-
Edie. I didn't think Edie beat us. I thought the two guards beat us.
Fletcher
So
Lawyer,
it's a
Fletcher
common
Lawyer and
theme.
Brendan Smith, yeah.
And so where I'm going with that, it's a common theme that in college basketball, the guards are everything.
Right.
So our guys are going to have to get together and figure this out. It's a whole new starting group, okay? Both of those groups are two teams that played together for, basically 2 seasons. And now these guys will have to figure this out through this Pac-12 play to get ready for conference to be able to beat teams like this.
Also, the average fan might go out there and watch a Purdue game, watch an FAU game, Kelvin, and they might see John L. Davis look average. They might see Fletcher look like he's okay. When you go up against the number 1 ranked team, when you go up against a team in a marquee matchup against Arizona, some guys, Kelvin, they step up to those moments and they look, the adrenaline's flowing, and it's just that's what they've been playing for their whole lives, is to get to their moments, to get a stage like that, playing against a team like this. And so, John L. Davis, I've seen some highlights, guys, and watched some games where he played where he wasn't really looking to be as aggressive trying to score the ball as he was in that game. But clearly at some point, especially when they go down 17-2 to start that game, at some point he flipped that switch, and John L. Davis was just doing a lot of lefty. Kelvin, we talked about that all post game. They were letting him go left, but he definitely was assertive and just kind of took over that game, as the guys who are veterans who have been there, done that, played in big games tend to do, going up against a team in a program like Arizona.
Another guy making big shots late in that one was Florida Atlantic's Elijah Martin.
Defensively, throw it out top. They go backdoor to Davis, underneath, turns on Ballo, double team, can't shoot. Travel, no call. Get it out to Martin. A deep 3 is good.
Elijah Martin hit 3 threes, in fact, in that ball game to finish with 13 points on the night. And after the ball game, Tommy Lloyd, not disappointed in all with the way that the game ended.
We didn't win today, but we got winners. And, and this team is built to, I think, have the type of conference season we all hope for, and then, and beyond. So, I'm not down.
Tommy Lloyd this year has said that a number of times after games that this team has got winners. KJ Lewis, said UFA stayed poised down the stretch when they were taking punches from Florida Atlantic, did not show any quit whatsoever.
Credit to them. They had, again, big-time players, experienced players, made big-time shots towards the end. But like Coach Lloyd said, we got a bunch of winners and dogs. There was no quit in us. I think we stayed really poised down the stretch, and even when they made their run at us. So, it's going to help us in the long run.
And that was a tough ball game, guys, for KJ Lewis, because he had to play with foul trouble, which we have not necessarily seen him have to do this season. But just, what did you guys like about kind of the way he handled that and stayed aggressive with that foul
I like
trouble?
everything about KJ. That's it. There it is. Kelvin?
I mean, like you said, with that being said, he still played 27 minutes, which is, I think 2 more than his average. I think he averages about 25. So he played a couple more, minutes there, and then just productive. 10 points and 6 rebounds. And then when you just watch the defense and the maturity that he plays with, as far as poised with the basketball, what was that, 0? What he had? He ended up having 1 turnover.
Yeah,
one turnover.
Yeah.
For a freshman, man, I know I would have had at least 3 in that game. Against Florida, I would have had at least 3.
High intensity, right? The more intense it gets, especially when you start talking about back and forth games late, Kelvin, KJ's poise. To me, you talk about foul trouble, you really get in your own head because you're 18, you're trying not to, get your hand in the cookie jar, that whole thing, because you want to stay out there. You got guys on the other side of the ball for FAU doing damage off the dribble, and that's what KJ's best at, is keeping guys in front of him on the defensive side. So it's so hard, Kelvin, for a guy that age to be aggressive, defensively aggressive, without fouling in a situation like that. Just that's kudos to him just for that alone.
And I'll say this, and I also think coming off the bench, I think he really wanted to change the game. And so you get in there and he's want to be aggressive defensively to those guards because he understands how well that they're playing, and you get a few fouls there. But coaches will tell you this, DK and JW, you know this. I'd rather have to bag you off a little bit than have to beg you to get up in there and get up in there and try to fight a little bit. So, hey, you can work with a guy that it's kind of like Larson. kind of the same thing with Pella. He gets a little aggressive at first, but again, I'd rather have you a little aggressive than soft.
Yeah, sometimes guys seem to come in and kind of status quo. They're trying to maintain whatever the starters have put out there on the board. Other guys, Kelvin, they come in and they're just trying to immediately make an impact.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you're jacking up the first three as soon as you get an open shot. It just means that you come into the game from the get-go as soon as you get up off the bench and you're impacting positively, whether or not you're getting up into some guy who's putting a couple buckets in a row or diving on the floor, whatever it is. KJ, he only has one gear. It's like full,
and if you're
full
smart,
blast.
if you're smart, like I wasn't smart yet when I got in. I was looking for a shot. I'm like, if I make this shot, coach gonna keep me in. No, if you get this steal, if you get a stop, if you get the extra pass, if you stick to the game plan. So that's what is beautiful about watching a kid like KJ Lewis, and I think that's also the advantage of playing, with other great players in high school, because you kind of understand that you have to figure out other ways to get it. Some days you're not going to be the highest point scorer on the team, but you can still be the highest rebounder, and you can tell that that's what the cloth KJ built from.
KJ Lewis on staying aggressive while he had that foul trouble against Florida Atlantic.
Just Coach Lloyd and my teammates just telling me not be myself. I think I played really aggressive. We were putting foul trouble on the foul pressure on their bigs. And it was just, situational basketball. We were getting anything we wanted in the paint, I felt like. And it just happened to go my way. I think it's just a testament to my teammates and my coaches just believing in me and trusting in me with, the fouls I had.
So 9-2 is the record for Arizona after the 11 non-conference games. The losses coming to two ranked teams at the time, number 4 Purdue, now the number 1 Boilermakers, and the number 14 Owls, who are now the number 7 team in the country. Arizona sticking in that number 4 spot that they occupied last week, despite the loss to Florida Atlantic. This is the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show, and we will have much more coming up for you. We're going to get a first break of the afternoon in. If you want to get in on the program and talk some Arizona Wildcats basketball, heck, we'll even talk Arizona Wildcats football today. Why not, if you want to call in on that? 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. It's a celebration. Well, every show is a celebration of U of A. So, we're open to talking about just about anything. If you like the Gym Cats, you want to talk about the Gym Cats, we can talk about the Gym Cats too. We'll do it all here. I'm on with Kelvin Efon, J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Advanced Auto Care, Crest Insurance Group, Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Frog in Firkin, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Window Depot.
Hi, this is Natalie Fernandez-Lee, President of Meridian Wealth Management. As a fiduciary investment firm, our clients have trusted us to guide them down their financial paths for decades. Whether you are an individual or family, business, foundation, or nonprofit, we are committed to your long-term goals and financial futures. We are proud supporters of the Tucson community and all that makes our city so special. Visit online at meridianwealthllc.com to learn more about Meridian.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & Kay. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rock & Kay is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 11 different model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in ready homes and special incentives. Live rockandk.com. Designed by nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Don't let heating or plumbing problems spoil your holidays. I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. We'd like to wish you a safe and happy holiday season and a very Merry Christmas. When you need us, call 520-440-4069 for honest service to the Tucson area for over 22 years.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
What do you mean, trenchless?
Means no trench.
But it's the sewer line.
And they did it without ruining my yard.
The yard we're standing in?
The very same.
I don't know if I trust that.
I trust that because I trust them.
Them?
Ram Plumbing.
Locally owned and operated Ram Plumbing, offering a comprehensive range of plumbing services from fixtures to installation to trenchless sewer replacement. Turn to Tucson's most trusted plumber. When your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double. Online at bestplumbertucson.com.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Tohono O'odham Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Bradley one bound to Boswell. Boswell to the top of the key. Boswell over to Love. A deep three outside. Rims out, no good. And that's it. The Owls win it. Well, Love, and he's made them before from out there. This one skims out. A 2-overtime thriller here in Las Vegas. Florida Atlantic beats Arizona 96-95.
Caleb Love played 40 minutes in that game last Saturday against Florida Atlantic. Hit some big shots to get Arizona back into that ball game and put them in a position to even be able to go to overtime. 8 of 25 from the floor, 4 of 12 from 3 in that ball game. He finished with 26 points, and that last shot, and I said it on the post-game show, I would have obviously liked to have seen, and I've kind of stayed with this mantra all year, I would have liked to have seen him be more aggressive in that particular situation. It was obviously a shot that he had made, though, in that ball game, and maybe that was the shot that felt comfortable to him. After the ball game, Caleb Love on that 3 shot at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going in, but, I probably should have, got in the paint or something like that. It was 3 seconds left. I tried to create some space and get the shot up, but I learned from that shot for sure.
So even Caleb there admitted that maybe he should have been more aggressive to the basket in that particular instance.
But after I went back and looked at it, he got a pitch backwards. Am I mistaken?
Got to pitch
right? It was
ball
a pass
backward.
Right?
Okay.
And he was probably, about 6 to 8 feet behind the three-point line when he got the ball. Mm-hmm. I think if he would have put the ball on the floor, he would have got double-teamed. So I think he probably got the best shot that he could have got off without getting trapped or risking getting the ball knocked away or something like that. And I'd rather get a shot. I'd rather it would have been maybe a little closer.
Yeah.
I wish it was something we could have did to, get him moving downhill or something like that on the shot. But I when I went back and looked at it, because at first I totally agree with you, but when I saw how much time it was, and if I'm FAU, I'm running everybody at him because who's shooting well,
right?
Who was shooting well? So when I looked at it again, I was like, I don't know, and they wasn't going to call a foul.
No,
they
I
wasn't going to call a foul.
mean, it was clear in the replay that his hand got hit on the release, but you're not going to get. You're not going to get that call in that instance. And it goes back to one of the things I've said, like you just said there, who was hot at that particular point. And that was the difference, I thought, in this game between the two teams. Florida Atlantic had a number of guys that were hot at the end. The Wildcats only had one guy that was hot at the end. Tommy Lloyd asked if that was the shot that they were looking for at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we were just, kind of, I figured they were going to come out and switch a bunch of things, so we just wanted to, kind of put the ball in Caleb or Kylan's hands at the end there. And, I figured one of them was going to have to make a play off the dribble. And, we got a shot that, Caleb's a big shot taker and he's a big shot maker. So I feel good about the look, and it was just in and out. I mean, that thing holds in there. I mean, we all probably feel a little bit different.
Now, you mentioned there, Kelvin, that he kind of got the ball going backwards. Are we learning anything about, and again, granted, I don't know if the Wildcats have been in too many instances like this, late games where they've had shots to try to win.
There you go.
But what are we learning about how Tommy draws those plays up in those instances? Or, what are we seeing in how he tries to attack those instances?
I tell you what, man, you got to appreciate, as a player, you got to appreciate a coach that's just going to put the ball in your hands. I mean, in a situation like that, because a lot of time if you draw up a play, the other team know exactly what you're drawing up. They have scouted. They understand what you have going. So in some of those situations, you say, you know what, my two best guys are going. I got Boswell. I got Love. I trust both of these guys. Whatever happens, happens. And the rest of the guys evidently trusted him as well. Got the ball right into Boswell, which I thought was key because I said, man, whoever get this ball first is who they really want to take the shot.
Yeah.
Who they really wouldn't mind. And then for Boswell to get right off the ball, I thought that was a little sign of respect that I didn't see from Kerr years ago. Remember I said that with Kerr? I always have to mess with him about that. But I didn't see from Kerr when he first got here. But seeing Boswell, the number one guy on the team, regardless, even though Love is our lead scorer, but Boswell is the guy. This is his team. And for him to make that pass and show confidence in Love, and then Love just did what he had to do. I wasn't surprised that he took the shot. Again, I thought earlier that before I looked at it again, I thought he could have penetrated. But again, getting that pass backwards, and now it makes total sense because Coach said, hey, I didn't draw up nothing. I said, let's get the ball in and let our guys make a play. And so, hey, man, I respect that, DK. A lot of people say, oh, no, make sure you have – if I had a lesser team, then you micromanage.
Yeah.
But when you have a team like that and these guys have played you to this record, right, to a 9-9, you basically were 9-1 at that time. They got you in a game where you basically about to win the game, and they've been basically playing free this whole time. Why would I chain you up now? So, hey, you go with your guys and show them that you really trust them, or you're going to look them in their eyes in another game and say, I trust you when you didn't trust me. Yeah, that trust thing matters in this thing. Yeah.
The worst thing you could do in that situation, and no disrespect to any previous coaches that I won't mention their names, is not get a good look, Kelvin. I mean, we've seen a lot of late game situations, late clock situations. You get a little cute with it, right? And then all of a sudden, like, you don't even get a good look at the rim. And so, that wasn't ideal. You had 6 seconds left after the timeout. It was not an ideal shot. However, it was a good look for a guy, we said this post-game, who had just made 2 or 3 shots basically from the same spot in that same game. Yeah. So as far as Caleb Love taking that shot, it's just difficult with 6 seconds. You get a little too cute, some back screens. You're trying to flare somebody out to a corner who maybe hasn't taken a shot in a little while because the defense is going to key on Boswell. They're going to key on Caleb Love. That's the whole point. If you do some kind of misdirection and make it seem like those guys are going to get the ball, but really you're going somewhere else, oftentimes that leads to maybe a guy getting the ball, Kelvin, who's not comfortable
turnover
in that situation, and that's even worse. So, your best big shot taker taking that shot at the end of the game, you can live with that.
And I'll say this last thing, DK. Coach said it. He said that they're going to switch everything like every other team because you want to switch everything, DK, because it runs the clock down, and you've seen teams not get a shot because they are trying to run a play and they switch everything. They got all their guards out there right now. No bigs were on the floor because their big guy had already fouled out. So you switch everything there, and you don't get anything. So, hey, you just make that pass and play.
Okay, so then let me ask you this question then. Obviously, you had, and we go back to what we said, I believe when they inbounded the ball, there were about 10 seconds left. Kylan was maybe a little bit slow getting it up. It took maybe more time off the clock than you would have liked to. Would you have liked to have seen them not take a timeout there at all and just go?
If you're pushed, yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, because now the coach on the side, when you call timeout, the bad thing about that is he get a chance to remind his team of all your plays.
Right.
He got guys over there that get paid a lot of money as well. Going to say, hey, they do this. Watch for Barlow. Okay, I don't think Barlow's in the game because of he may can't knock down the free throws. That's how they feel. So now, hey, watch for this, watch for that. Let's switch everything. Force them to catch the ball going away from the basket, which starts the clock running to put more pressure on them taking the shot. Right. And so now you get that time by running that break, by being able to push the ball in. Boswell made a mistake on that one.
Mm-hmm.
He just went a little. If he would have went fast, coach probably would have let it go, because usually what happens is you get an open shot because that penetration draws everybody because they want to stop him from getting to his spot. And now you got to kick to Caleb. That's cash. That's cash. And then also, I believe you get to the rim and you miss a bunny. You miss a little floater. And now you got Keyshot and KJ and Larson, them boys trying to do the tip dunk. You get 2 opportunities at it with that 10 seconds. But if you walk the ball up, I'm getting 1 shot, and you haven't even been shooting that well. No offense to Boswell, but he hadn't been playing that well, right, JJ?
Yeah.
So I can't let you walk it down and just take the last shot, without at least talking about it.
And it's so situational, right? If you're down 3, and so I'm looking at the play-by-play. The rebound from Umar Ballo came with 14 seconds left. So 14 seconds left. He rebounds Martin's three-pointer, missed three-pointer. They're down by 1, 96-95 with 14 seconds left. Like Kelvin's saying, rim pressure by either Boswell or Love pushing hard to look as if they're just going to sprint up the court for a layup.
Get a layup or foul.
There goes the defense in scramble mode trying to go and cut that off. That's a wide open shot for Pella. That's a Ballo tip in, whatever. There's so many scenarios that can come out of that rim pressure, and especially with 14 seconds left, down 1. Now you're down 3. You might need a timeout.
Because I still can get a foul if we miss. I still got a second. I still got a few seconds to get a foul if we miss. Everything is in our favor. Once you start walking it as a coach, I have to call timeout, because in my mind, first thing, when I see a guy walking that ball, I know from playing they finna deny everybody now.
Yeah.
So there's not gonna be a pass, and especially if I'm that smart team like FAU that know he hasn't been playing that well. Hey, I'm gonna force you to make a shot. I'm going to force you to get one. We're going to check it, and we're going to live with it. As a coach, I couldn't live with that. I would have had to call the timeout too. But as you saw what we had, how many seconds we had left when we got it?
6.
Yeah, 14, that's 8 seconds.
Yeah, that's 8 seconds. Yep.
So I told you he didn't push it. When I saw him, he was just.
Now, here's my question to you, Kelvin. Next time Boswell gets the ball in his hands, 15 seconds left to go in a tie game, down 1 or something like that, the sense of urgency, is he going to learn from that?
Yeah, man. I mean, now I would say tied, I wouldn't mind him going slow right there, because I want to get the last shot.
Sure.
Right.
I want to get the last shot.
Right.
But down 1,
yeah.
I got to go. We got to go. We don't got no time to be letting this clock roll down. And it's one shot finna happen. He was finna make a little move, and he probably would have hit it. But at that point where you're 4 for 12, Let's talk about it. let's talk about it. And then even when you get him to the sideline, it sucks because in your mind you got all these plays that you've been trained to have, and you've ran all these plays, and then you're like, you know what, we're gonna just go with you, Boswell, and if you don't have it, because now you give him back power again, right, J-Dub?
Oh, yeah.
You give the power back to him. So what? Let's get it back to Boswell. He had the ball. I don't want to take that away from him, but man, if you would have pushed that ball, we would have had a couple opportunities at a shot or maybe even a foul to extend the game.
It's also, you got to have that goldfish memory, right? Because in that double overtime, there were 3 buckets that Arizona made. A layup by KJ Lewis, a layup by Pella Larson, and a 3-pointer by Kylan Boswell with about 1:50 left in the game. So Kylan had just hit a 3 a minute and a half before that. Caleb Love did not have any field goals in that second overtime. So again, Kylan Boswell has not been playing well not been shooting well, should I say, the last 2 games. He just had made a bucket. Having a short memory or whatever, just forgetting about it. That's a young man right there, Kelvin. As far as
that was catch and shoot though, wasn't it?
I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was.
You.
Yeah.
He dribbling up, man.
Yeah.
I just
different.
I'd rather him penetrate it. I'd rather love penetrating and kick to him for the shot.
Yeah, long story short, put rim pressure on. Put pressure on the rim. If you're down by 1, you got 14 seconds left and you get the defensive rebound, put some rim pressure on.
Yeah, and it's like you said, Caleb's probably the better guy to do that because he's the guy that's going to press it a little bit better.
And he can finish at the rim a little.
And that's what I say. I know why Coach didn't give it to Caleb initially. Because he wasn't going to pass it. If he would have got it,
he was gone.
He was going to go.
He
was going to go. But I think it would have put him in a situation where he would have got downhill. I think when he got the ball, he was in a situation to where he's been in these instances at North Carolina where he got into the lane and 5 people got on him and he took the shot and everybody yelled at him, say, "Hey, why you just didn't take the clean 3?"
Yeah.
So the experiences put you in that situation, and that thing, man, it looped out on him, didn't it? Man, it went down, and I was like, boy.
All right, let's get our first opportunity to take a glance at the California Golden Bears.
Our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game is brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindow.depot.com.
All right, the Golden Bears enter this game at 4-7. They've been dealing with a lot of injuries in the early part of this season, especially to their best player, Devin Askew. He is just returning from a foot injury. He had last year a situation with his eye and his foot, so he's dealt with a number of different injuries as a Golden Bear. They've got a number of transfers. Keontae Kennedy comes over from Memphis. They've also got a couple of players who have come up from other programs as well. Fardaws Amac, a transfer into this program. And so a lot of new faces for Mark Matson, Fardaws Amac out of Texas Tech. He's on his 3rd school. I mentioned Keontae Kennedy. I think he's on his 4th school. And so you can get the nature of the beast. You got a lot of guys that have played in a lot of places. Devin Askew, of course, I believe this is his 3rd school because he started at Kentucky, then went to Texas. Now he's at Cal. So you got a lot of guys on this roster that have been to multiple programs now trying to see if they can find it in Mark Matson's first year with the California Golden Bears. He is a graduate of Stanford, of course. Mark Matson won in the NBA with the Lakers as a reserve and was a guy that the Wildcats saw frequently alongside his running buddy, Casey Jacobson, back in the early part of the late 90s and early part of this century.
Those Stanford teams, man, that was a slugfest every time.
Every time.
Because, I mean, you go up against guys like Mark Matson, and I understand, like, we talked to Casey Jacobson a few months ago, and his whole thing was that Matson off the court is really sweet, kind, nice, gentle. He's the opposite, but he's kind of got an alter ego on the basketball court. But, Kelvin, when you're playing against a guy like that, I mean, that's like a linebacker, right? I mean, he's got, no matter what it's going to take, like, he's going to leave the field standing up, the court standing up, and you're not. Matson just approached the game like that.
Yeah, what is it, Mad Dog?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that was his name, man. And he chased everything down, man. It was great at rebound, putbacks, just that ultimate. You can't call him a glue guy because he was such a star of his team, but that's the way he played, the ultimate glue guy.
And this is a Cal team that has played a lot of close games this season. I mentioned 4-7. 8 of their 11 games have been decided by 9 points or fewer. They are scoring the ball more this year. 76 points they come into this game averaging, and that is a 12-point increase over their average over the course of the last 6 seasons. So Mark Matson's teams, a higher scoring bunch than what we've seen up in Berkeley in recent years.
They averaged 58 points a game last year.
Wow.
That's why he went to the portal. How can you blame him from going to the portal then? I got to get to the portal.
I wonder why there's no fans going to those games.
Yeah, he's just not had a lot of guys healthy so far in this early season. All right, let's get another break in here, and we'll come back. Our spotlight on a cap, but that's your first look at the Golden Bears.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindow.depot.com. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after any accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Hi, this is Tim Couch, retired NFL quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, partner at Meridian Wealth Management, and proud member of Meridian's Tucson Advisory Business Council. It's my favorite time of year, college football season. I've always been a proud Wildcat. As our firm has grown in Tucson with Ruben and Natalie Fernandez, I now cheer on 2 Wildcats every year. My alma mater of Kentucky, of course, and our U of A Cats. Here's to a great football season, and go Cats.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
At Nova Home Loans, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to enjoy the independence that comes with home ownership. Whether you're a first-time home buyer who needs down payment assistance, have less than perfect credit, or looking to refinance, Nova has a variety of home loan programs for your unique situation. Visit novahomeloans.com or call 800-955-9125 to learn more. Not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Rates and available loan programs are subject to change without notice. NMLS 3087, BK 0902429, Equal Housing Opportunity.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
At Standard Restaurant Supply, their vision and #1 goal is to improve the lives of their customers and clients by providing a better culinary experience. Standard Restaurant Supply, if it's in a restaurant and not food, they have it. Open to the public, no membership fees, and they offer bulk store pricing without the bulk store purchase. Open Monday through Saturday at 601 South Cherry Avenue or call 885-2345. Standard Restaurant Supply is a proud sponsor of the U of A Radio Sports broadcast.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Rebound tipped out to Larson and to Bradley. Jaden will drive inside, shovel it up. Ooh, a little too strong. There's Ballo for the follow, and the Cats get an offensive rebound and 2 points. Jaden will drive inside, layup no good. The tap is good by Umar Ballo, and the Wildcats are up 17-3 here.
Umar Ballo in the loss to Florida Atlantic, 13 points, 21 rebounds for Umar. did not shoot the ball necessarily that well, considering he shoots 64% for his career, just 4 for 11 from the floor in the game, but did get to 21 rebounds, and it was enough for Oumar Ballo this week to be named the Pac-12 Player of the Week. He is our spotlight on a cat. So Oumar Ballo averaged on the week 16 points and 17 rebounds, but I think the most impressive thing about his week, Kelvin, was the fact that he shot 11 of 17 from the free throw line, and so this is an opportunity again. He came in shooting just 40% from the field. We saw them intentionally foul him a number of times in the Alabama game, but that's important. It's important that he continues to feel more comfortable at the free throw line as this season goes on.
Yeah, it is. And the more you see the ball go through the net, the more confident that comes with that. The more confidence the coach still getting you the ball, your teammates still getting you the ball on the inside, whether they're fouling you or not. Understanding that the foul count is racking up and 1-and-1 is happening sooner than most teams because of guys racking up fouls against them. Then it's okay. So 11 for 17. I would love to see it a little bit closer to 14 out of 17, but I'll take 11 out of 17 all day with where it was.
All right, let's take a little bit closer look at Oumar Ballo and what he's done recently.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
As we mentioned, Oumar Ballo, the Pac-12 Player of the Week, second Wildcat to win that honor this year. Kylan Boswell got it in week number 1. Oumar Ballo with the 21 rebounds against Florida Atlantic. And those were the most rebounds in a single game by a Wildcat since Jordan Hill grabbed 22. That was my first year here covering the Arizona Wildcats in November of 2008. Oumar had 9 offensive rebounds in that game. Those were the most by a Wildcat in a game since Derek Williams had 9 against Washington State in January of 2011. Derek Williams was in the house on Saturday in Las Vegas. So maybe Oumar wanted to show out for the former big man who went on to be the number 2 pick. In fact, he was the highest drafted Arizona Wildcat until DeAndre Ayton became the number 1 pick. I believe it was 2018.
Yeah,
in
Bibby
which
was
that
3,
happened for.
right?
Well, Bibby was 3, and Williams then went to 2.
Yeah, Bibby was 3.
And then number 1, of course, was DeAndre Ayton. Tommy Lloyd on his big man, Oumar Ballo.
We want to continue to build with him. I mean, he's obviously a force. And, I'm sure his finishing is going to continue to pick up a little bit. But for him to go get 20 rebounds in a game like that was pretty impressive. So, we love O. We appreciate all the value he brings to us. We were kind of mixing some lineups down the stretch in there, and he handled it with a ton of maturity. And, kind of going in and out, and then to step up and make 2 big free throws, shows a lot of growth for him.
That's an interesting comment there by Tommy Lloyd. Mixing lineups they were at the end of the game. We have seen that, I think, a couple of times where Oumar has not necessarily been on the floor late in some of these games. They'll put him in sometimes at the offensive end or the defensive end. They'll take him out if there's a timeout and they're going back on offense. And that could be a tough thing for a young man to handle when you look at yourself potentially as being one of the primary guys on this team, but you're kind of being shuttled in and out of the lineup there at times late in games.
Well, if you're trying to win a championship and you've been a part of the team, if you've been to the tournament and you want to aspire for bigger goals, then you understand whatever y'all have to do to get the job done. If you're paying attention and I'm sure he was, the other team didn't have a big in the game.
Yeah.
So there was no one for you to guard on the floor. Now, some people say, well, you can impose your will and just have him post up. Well, who's he going to guard when you're playing a guard-heavy team that's basically killing you from the perimeter? So right now we got to try to match up real fast just to see if it'll work for us. If it's not working for us, of course I'm going to go back to my starting center and just do the best with what we have. But as a coach, and I've been disappointed, watching a few high school games. You want to see some adjustments. You want to see try 2-3. You see some high school coaches that refuse to try 2-3 defense. And I'm like, what? You're losing by 30. Throw 2-3 out. I mean, something. I mean, just any type of little adjustment to throw a wrinkle at the other team to slow them down or whatever. And so, that'd be disappointing. But when I watch Lloyd, he don't have a pride in that, man. He'll throw some different things in there if need be. He'll throw some different lineups in there because if you're truly trying to win, and that's what he always says, it has to match when you watch the team play and when you know they're in situations where this guy or that guy. He brought Caleb Love out a couple times. He brought Caleb Love, and I remember thinking like, ooh, we need him in the game right now. But you know what?
Well,
that's his team. He coached these guys every day in practice. He know who's his best 5 on defense that he need. He took Love out.
Yeah, we've seen him take Kylan Boswell out and insert Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis together at times when he needs that bigger defensive presence there.
And that's just situational. But if I got to be the one to keep it real, this is not 1993, okay? Shaq's not coming through that door. There aren't bigs in this at this level anymore. They're all trying to be Wembanyama and KD. So when you're talking about Coach Lloyd and you're talking about that high-low system, having 3 or 4 bigs on the roster, that's awesome. And you can match up with anybody, especially when you got a backcourt and front court like you got this year. However, there's always going to be situations, especially against a team like FAU. They got 1 big and they got 8 guards. So there's going to be situations, DK, where Ballo can't be in that game. Kelvin nailed it. Who's he going to guard? So East Tennessee State, right? That was the one where Coach Olson had Buffalo, same thing with Ayton. But when you're talking about a bunch of 6'4" to 6'7", 6'8" guys who can run around you, who can switch on defense and do all those things, personnel, having a team that you can match up with against any style, that's the goal in modern basketball. They got multiple bigs on this Arizona roster that can match up against guys like Edey. But in a situation like that, late game especially, you're going to want to have Ballo in there for rebounding. And if you're down, it's like that situation, Kelvin, where when you're down, you maybe don't want him in there because you got to get some quicker buckets. But when you are up, you want to slow things down a little bit. It's situational. It's not gonna. I don't think it reflects on Kylan Boswell or Umar Ballo if they're not in the game at a key moment. It matters about how much time they're playing overall, and when the opponent's putting a certain roster or a certain 5 out on the court, you just got to match it.
And DK said it. It's time that KJ Lewis and Bradley is out there and the starters are out the game. So I think as a coach, he's building that culture with these guys of understanding I'm going to coach the team to do whatever I have to do. Whoever's hot, whoever's playing well defensively, that's who's going to be in the game. And to me, that builds trust. That builds trust that if I play right and I do what I'm supposed to do the right way, he's going to give me minutes and I can do my thing. Because he already let the guys go offensively. I mean, to me, that thing, to get on the mic and say, hey, I let them go. I let them create right there. How many people would say that? Oh, no. Most coaches will get up there and lie. And say, no, I had a play drawn up and, the guys kind of throw the guys under the bus and say, the guys kind of went on their own and went to something else. No, you say, they was going to switch everything. I thought it'd be best to create something off the dribble and I let the guys go. That's that trust, man, that builds up to where guys in big-time situations aren't looking to the sideline, wondering what play to call, wondering what I should do that late in the year that's going to pay dividends in big games.
That's it right there. That's one point we haven't made. Last year, Coach Lloyd said maybe that he didn't get the rotation guys in early enough in the season because you're going to have to make some mistakes. You're going to have to crack some eggs type of thing. And so getting some of those guys, especially Bradley, KJ, in late game situations, Kelvin, winning time moments, I think you already know you can rely on Pelle Larson. You can rely on Caleb Love. These guys been there, done that, big games their whole career in college basketball. Having, we're not looking at the 9, 10 deep that maybe people talked about because it never works out like that. But having that 6, 7, 8 guy off the bench in those key moments, you might lose that game. But guess what? A couple months from now, Kelvin, those guys got that experience. They don't have wide eyes. The spotlight's not too big when it comes down to those big games in March, and that's really what they're playing for.
All right, that's your spotlight on Umar Ballo.
As today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
It's the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show. Countdown to tip-off. Also brought to you by Dave & Buster's, the best place to eat, drink, and play while watching tonight's game on the Pac-12 network between the Wildcats and the California Golden Bears. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. You can call us at that number. You can text the program at that number. Download our app. You can communicate with the show through our app. You can send us an audio statement through our app. If you have something you want to say, you don't want to say it on the radio, but you want your voice heard, send us an audio statement. You can send us a video through our app. If you got something you want to say about Arizona basketball or Arizona football, you can also send us messages through our app. Text app to 520-848-1290, and I'll send you a link so you can download the app.
What if somebody at home did not have a television or a computer, but they wanted to see Kelvin's pretty face on their phone? Could they do that on the app?
They could do that because the show is streaming right now on the app through our YouTube connection. We are on a number of different platforms. There's J-Dub right there. If you're watching us on YouTube, J-Dub is in camera, what we call camera 5 right there. Kelvin is in camera number 3 right there. I am in number 1. And again, we are streaming the video of this show live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Those are the 4 places where you can find video stream of all of our pregame and postgame content. And our website, wildcatsradio1290.com. If you miss a show, you can go back and find those shows on our website as well. Let's hear from our guy, Doug, who is chiming in. Maybe Doug got a little bit of sleep. I didn't get it. I got home, got in bed at 3:30. Alarm went off at 8:30. I was back here doing interviews at 10.
Same.
So I did not sleep a whole lot last night, but hopefully Doug got some rest.
I got a lot of sleep, but it wasn't the hours a typical person might get. I was up till about 5 a.m. because I was still so wired from the football game. Yeah, I'm a night owl to begin with, so like when you guys do the 1 a.m., 2 a.m. shows, I'm fine with all that. But yeah, I was watching highlights and reading articles, and I almost decided to rewatch the whole game, but I thought I'll save that for the weekend. Got to focus on basketball today. But
there you go.
Yeah, definitely still riding on cloud 9, that's for sure. Yeah, just as we're kicking off our last season of Pac-12 basketball, I don't know if you guys were already planning to do something like this, or maybe I don't know if the official broadcast guys are going to do something, but just kind of a retrospective on our rivalry with each of the teams might be kind of cool. Because I was thinking back about our history with Cal. Were you guys already planning to do something like this?
Well, I mean, we kind of did that in football, where in our interviews we talked to people and got their memories, and we share our memories. I mean, nothing like official in terms of that. I probably don't have as many memories. Obviously, I go back to about 2008 as some of these guys in here. But yeah, I mean, we will definitely talk about memories of these games, and we have as we've kind of gone through some of the football side and kind of bled football into basketball in terms of talking about each individual school.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were waxing nostalgic when, Pac-12 football season was ending, the championship game in Vegas and so on. And I had to remind people, like, we've still got basketball, we've got softball and baseball, we've got a lot more Pac-12 sports to play. So I was just thinking back about Arizona versus Cal in basketball, and there's been some, like, really big moments, actually. Everyone talks about that 2014 Brandon Ashley game where he went down with the injury, and obviously that was enormous. We were, I think, 21-0 going into that game. And for all we know, that might have been another Final Four or even national championship season if he stays healthy. And so, I mean, that was just really frustrating, lose it on a buzzer beater. But besides that, I remember a Jason Kidd game down here in McHale where they beat us in overtime, and I was just like, I couldn't believe, we were coming off of a 71-game home court winning streak not long before that. And then Cal came in here, and they were awfully good. I think they had Lamont Murray also. And, man, just losing to them in McHale was just shocking. I don't remember ever seeing that happen. But one of the biggest moments that in this rivalry was actually right before we went off on our national championship run. Guess what was our last game before we went to the tournament?
Yeah, California.
At Cal.
Yeah.
And we lost, right? We lost at Stanford, and then we lost at Cal. and then we go off and win 6 straight in the tournament because there was no Pac-12 tournament that year. So maybe that was a good luck omen for us. I don't know, playing at Cal, but I mean, just a lot of history with the buildings, like the old Harmon Gym, which is one of these classic old Pac-12 bandboxes, like Matt Court and so yeah. Then Harmon Gym was closing, and they were renovating it and moving everything over to Haas Pavilion, and that's when I think, Kelvin, you were remembering when we played in Oakland against Cal, but I think that was just that one year because I went to that game in Oakland because they couldn't play on their campus arena.
Right.
So, yeah, so they moved over to where the Warriors were playing, and I went there by myself, and I was like, not the greatest neighborhood in the world, and so I actually brought just to share my personal anecdote, I brought my bright yellow ski jacket because it was a cold day, and I covered up all my red and blue stuff with a bright yellow jacket so people would think I was a Cal fan until I got in the arena, and then I shoved it under my seat. So just stuff like that kind of you flash back to when you think that, we're not going to be making this trip to the Bay every year anymore. It's kind of a bummer. But, yeah, and then I think we played one year in the Cow Palace, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that.
The Cow Palace or the Cow Palace?
Cow Palace. It's
no,
in the city.
COW.
Oh.
Yeah. That's an actual building in the Bay Area. Because,
It's in the city, yeah.
Yeah. And then just thinking back about some of the great players that Cal has had. I mean, everyone talks about Jason Kidd, and I mentioned Lamont Murray, but I was just looking it up to try to remember it. I mean, think of some of these names. Joe Shipp. I mean, he could score like nobody's business. Jelani McCoy, Ed Gray. I think he was
Pac-12 nice.
Player of the Year.
Yeah.
JUCO player.
Right. Jerome Randall. Ivan Rabb, a little bit more modern guy. Alan Crabb was a really good shooter. Jabari Bird. And then I guess most recently, Matt Bradley, who then transferred to San Diego State and went to the championship with them last year.
Sharif.
Was probably the best player they've had.
Abdur-Rahim.
Yeah, Sharif.
Oh, man. Yeah, Sharif. That's right. Right. So they've had some talent, I guess they just haven't always had it all at the same time, so they've struggled.
Tony Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
We
Sure.
actually came on our he was supposed to come on the recruiting trip here at the U of A with me at the same time as and we supposed to both came to football/basketball players, but he ended up going to Cal.
Yeah. Oh man, that would have been pretty sweet to have him on campus here. He was a good one on both sides. I remember in basketball, he was a tough guy. He was like I don't know if you want to say he was like a Michael Wright or Tom Tolbert kind of player, maybe.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, muscle around the rim and stuff.
Yeah,
in college.
He was he sucked up every rebound in his area. I'll tell you that much. Jason.
Yeah,
Jason Kidd and Lamont Murray. That was the '94 year. To me, Doug, that first game. I know Kelvin remembers this. In McHale, Jay Kidd coming in had so much hype, and I remember thinking, "There's no way." So he's coming up right side, and Lute's got the 3/4 court trap going, and Khalid and Damon go over and trap Jay Kidd on the sideline. This dude's 18. This was, I think, his 11th game. And Jason Kidd, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this since. He spun through the double and put the ball between his legs at the same time and left Damon and Khalid in the dust, Kelvin, like they weren't even there. And that was Damon Stoudemire and Khalid Reeves. And I was just thinking to myself, okay, I heard about this Jason Kidd guy, and I'm seeing it for myself right now firsthand, and he's that dude.
And I'll be mad at myself if I didn't shoot a shout out to my boy I grew up playing AAU with, Randy Duck.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Duck.
Oh, Randy Duck.
That was my guy.
That was one of those players you love to hate, like Ryan Appleby. Yeah. Ryan Appleby at Washington, Randy Duck at Cal. Yeah, there were a few guys I wasn't a big fan of watching, but wow, that's a flashback. Man, JW, you've got a sharp memory if you remember that a specific play and what the defensive set was from 1994. I got to give you props.
Well, no, 92. I remember. Yeah, I remember. I remember exceptional moments in McHale because that's what we're there for, right? We're there to watch those exceptional moments. And Jason Kidd, I mean, as far as opponents, freshmen coming into that building, it's hard to remember like a freshman from any other team that I was as impressed with as I was with Jason Kidd. He was every bit the pro that he played for 18 years or whatever as he was as a freshman that one. He was trained by Gary's dad, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So Gary Payton's dad trained a bunch of those guys, right? And I think he was one of those guys, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was legit. I mean, it was kind of like Mike Bibby coming in with a lot of hype, and you know, it's hard to live up to it. And then he comes right in and goes up against Ed Cota for North Carolina, and all of a sudden he's a phenom, like from game 1, game 2 of the year. And Jason Kidd was the same way. I was just also kind of reminiscing on the coaches they've had. Lou Campanelli back in the day.
Campanelli, I remember that was my era.
Yeah, and then Todd Bozeman didn't work out so great, not just on the court but off the court. And then Ben Braun, I actually had some pretty good teams during those years. And then of course Mike Montgomery came in, and he was always successful no matter where he went. And now with Mark Madsen, I was just going to say Mark Madsen was one of the. I mean, I don't have much affection for visiting teams, but he was one of the most likable opposing players I can remember in all these years of watching U of A basketball, along with Brandon Roy. I've always liked both of those guys, personality-wise, maybe not, you know, on the court, but
killer. Those are both killers right
hard
there.
to hate. Who was that?
Those are both killers you just mentioned. I mean, you talk about on the court, like when you're playing against those guys as opponents, you tip your cap, got respect for obviously how they carry themselves, but playing against those guys, those are two guys that are tough competitors. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, a nightmare in both cases. But on those, we're off topic to talk about Washington, but those Brandon Roy teams were with Nate Robinson. Those were
well. It's funny, Doug,
really
you bring up
tough
Washington because I lump Washington and Cal in the same category of. I get depressed because how much talent has come out of Washington, how much talent has come out of the Bay, especially Oakland, and most of those guys don't stay home. So if some of those guys had gone to Cal, you talk about Bozeman, if they had built upon the success that they had, Cal is one of those teams I feel like should always be a top 30 team in the country. Just the amount of talent coming out of that area. And unfortunately, they just haven't had the cohesion, the coaches staying there and building something. And it's tough to talk about Cal basketball history because it's so hit and miss, right? There's been bright moments, but for the most part, it's those years like last year where you're looking at them averaging 58 points a game, not putting butts in the seats, and having long losing streaks. You know, how is Cal that bad at basketball with all that talent coming out of their backyard?
Oh, absolutely. And now if you think that Duke and North Carolina are going to be playing in the Bay Area every year, and you think they're not going to poach some Oakland area or Bay Area talent, that's going to be even harder for them to keep their guys at home.
Damian Lillard is from Oakland, guys.
Well, I think it actually might help them keep some of the players at home because they can say, hey, North Carolina, because you know North Carolina and Duke ain't going to be able to recruit all the guys. So they be able to tell some of those guys, you get a chance to go against those guys because they didn't recruit you. That's how, we got a few of the guys, and that's how Washington got a few of the guys. So, their coaches just need to use that as part of their tactic, is making the guys understand, hey, those teams, like at Arizona, USC, and UCLA don't recruit the guys. We'll take you. Give you a chance to go back home.
That's a good point. Anyway, I just wanted to share my recollections. It's bittersweet. All these road games are going to be bittersweet. Just thinking like all the years that I've watched the U of A at Cal, and this is the last one, at least as far as a conference opponent goes. I imagine with all these teams, we're going to schedule some non-conference games in the future, and that'll be fun. Like out of the blue, we just randomly go back to Maples Pavilion or go back to Washington or something. But just the routine of it every winter, to know that we're going to Cal, we're going to Stanford, and it's just kind of a bummer that it's ending. But hey, let's kick it off right tonight and hopefully dominate the last year of the Pac-12 in basketball, and we'll worry about March after that. Let's just focus on the task at hand. So I'm looking forward to tonight.
All right, appreciate it, Doug. Thank you very much, as always. 520-848-1290 is the number to get on the program. Much more straight ahead. It is the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show. Countdown to tip-off, along with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Advanced Auto Care, Crest Insurance Group, Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Frog in Firkin, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Window Depot.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Okay, kids, we're home. Everybody out.
Ew, my feet are stuck.
And what, honey?
On the floor.
Ew. Take off your shoes. Tommy, come carry your sister into the house.
What do you do when the car you use the most has the least amount of time to get clean? Let Recon Auto Detailing, Arizona's premier auto detailing company, come to you and turn your busiest car back into your best. From basic cleaning to a full detail, Recon Auto Detailing. Online at recondetail.com.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park within the Vale School District. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rock & K with home savings up to $35,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
As a homeowner, you've probably seen some pretty bad plumbing problems.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
We've seen them all.
All of them?
Rams Plumbing kept entire buildings flowing. Businesses since 1983.
Wow, so whatever happens to my house...
We've seen it before, and we have the solution. Locally owned and operated, Ram Plumbing is Tucson's most trusted plumber. Our team of licensed professionals can fix anything your home can dish out. When your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double. Online at bestplumbertucson.com.
We return now to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Eugene, it looks like we waited a bit too long to get our shopping done. These shelves are pretty empty.
Yeah, Doug, looks like everything got sucked up into that great big cyber savings vortex. But I've got another great idea.
We interrupt Eugene's great ideas for this commercial message.
Trying to get on the road but need some maintenance or repairs to get your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh road trip ready?
Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has some fantastic year-end savings, like $50 back on any $250 purchase. When you pay with your Jack Furrier card, you save big.
Whether it's tires, maintenance, or auto repair, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care has you covered. We can get your vehicle road trip ready and save you some big bucks.
So, Eugene, what was that great idea of yours anyway?
I was thinking about getting everybody a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
Thanks, Eugene. And for everyone else, there's Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care since 1960, here to get you there.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
5 on the shot clock. Davis trying to create. Davis in the lane. Turns. Fadeaway is up. Banks around and falls in, of course. Davis out top around the screen from Golden. Another jumper. Left elbow. Good again. Boy, right now, John L. Davis is taking over this game.
35 points for John L. Davis from Florida Atlantic in that win on last Saturday in Las Vegas. The end of the gauntlet. 6 games against quality opponents, big-time opponents. 5 of those opponents were ranked when the Wildcats played them. Alabama started the season as a ranked team. Tommy Lloyd asked if he would do that again, especially the 3-game stretch in which the Wildcats played Purdue, Alabama, and Florida Atlantic in the course of 1 week.
Oh, 100%. I mean, hey, I wish this was the NBA where we were just on to the next one, where these losses didn't hurt as much. But in college, they hurt. The losses hurt in college, especially when you're at a program like Arizona and, you're not used to losing. But, we're built for it. And, there's no shame in losing to Purdue. There's no shame in losing to Florida Atlantic. They're an incredible team and extremely well coached. I mean, we were impressed watching them, and we knew it was going to be tough. When we went up, I was like, the chances of us continuing this is probably pretty slim, and to their credit, they dug back in the game and made a good run at the start of the second half to kind of take control of things. And then we had to kind of, it tested our character. And I thought our guys rose to that occasion.
Kelvin, you want to win every game?
Of course you do.
Of course. Go undefeated. If you can.
When was the last time that happened?
Never for me.
Indiana.
And as a coach, for Coach Kelvin, is it easy to get attention of your players? They win every single game?
Oh, please.
Right. I mean, I just
can't tell them nothing at that point, right?
Their coach becomes, Instagram.
Yeah. I just think, the whole concept of fans who want to see the teams win every game, you want to see the teams win every game. That's what fandom is. And if you're sad because they don't win every single game, you got to understand that those losses are what lead to growth. And especially for a team that you're trying to work in new players and some transfers. Obviously, this Arizona team has played very well up to this stage of the season. And as Coach just said right there, they will play this type of schedule again. Why? Because, Kelvin, what sharpens what?
Earn.
Right.
Sharpens earn.
Right. So you're going to come up against guys like John L. Davis who just go crazy. I mean, some of those buckets he was making in overtimes in the late game in that second half, you just tip your cap because there was good defense on a lot of those plays. So there's not really a what did we do wrong? It's, hey, you got to be 2 inches a little bit more to the right to make sure you try to shade him to the other side. It's those kind of things.
Caleb Love on that stretch of games against major competition.
Well, I think it just helps us going into the long run, and especially, going into Pac-12 play. And then it's going to help us, obviously, going into, March as far as, these big-time games against these big-time teams as far as, getting situations that, we may not be able to, like Coach said, simulate in practice. And so, we learn from them, grow from them, watch film, and, we do that a lot. And so, like I said, I just feel like this definitely going to help us, and I'm, glad Coach put this schedule together because, we know what to expect going forward.
Even bigger situations that you can't simulate in games against mid-majors. How you're going to handle these types of things that you're going to face against quality opponents when you get to that 6-game stretch in March.
You know what you can't simulate at practice? How hungry a mid-major team is. We played one, Miami of Ohio, and we hadn't played one until the tournament. And I did not know, I had never even heard of Miami.
There's a Miami in Ohio too?
Right? Yeah, I'm looking for Miami. I'm like, Miami? Then it's my Ohio, what? And so, they don't even have a football team. And so, but what had happened was that was probably, one of my first times understanding that, hey, these are a bunch of dudes that are hungry like wolves. This is their chance to play against a ranked school in a tournament of one chance, winner takes all, memories forever. I guarantee you Devin Davis still living off of that. I'll never forget him. He had the dreadlocks, remember?
Yeah.
You had never really seen guys playing with the dreadlocks and everything, but he had the dreadlocks. He was out there balling, 6'6", killing our guys. But again, man, it's one of those things that when you play against a team like that, and then when you show this film, to me, J-Dub, this is a film that I would want to show them the whole thing and let them see how it played out. Like how you was up 13, basically, right?
Yeah.
And these guys did not flinch. I remember watching the game. I said, to my partner watching the game, I said, why are they so cool? You see how cool they were? No panic, no looking at each other, yelling. I mean, guys just stayed the course.
Yeah.
And just kept balling and took their time. And as I said in the other show, they just walked them down. It's a song out, walk them down. And they just took their time and just walked them down, man. And I think they can learn from that because they can watch that and see, again, times where they could have maybe doubled that guy and forced him off the ball. Times that they could have scored more, getting easier buckets and not snaking so much in different little things. And I'm looking for that on my guy Colin. For Boswell, how much he's doing that snaking, because I don't think he need that right now. I think that's more of an NBA thing.
Here's the thing. So FAU started playing basketball D1 level at 1993. That's the highest ranked team they ever beat. They're going to be building statues to John L. Davis because of that win they just had, okay? Yeah. So it means a lot more to those guys. It means everything to those guys. It means everything to that program, and that's how they approached it, and that's a team with 14 returners from a Final Four run last year. So that's what we saw the last game out.
All right, and it was, again, but Arizona got a lot out of not only the stretch of games that they played against those 6 opponents, but also the last few minutes being in an overtime pressure-packed situation against Florida Atlantic.
It's great to be in those situations. You can't simulate those pressure scenarios. And so now there's going to be a lot we'll learn from, a lot of positives where we did go and make great plays, and probably a few negatives, that we can learn from. But now that you've actually experienced it, beyond just practice, it really helps.
Yeah, I think Kelvin gave me an idea. Maybe we'll have to go search out some of those guys on those mid-major teams that knocked Arizona out of the NCAA tournament.
Oh, we know one. We know one, Nash. Right, Steve Nash. Yeah, things worked out pretty good for him.
We can get Steve Nash on the show. We're doing pretty good by ourselves. I'm just saying, but we know one. He's doing pretty good for himself. This is the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show. Countdown to tip-off is what we call it. Coming up next, Brian Peterson from Arizona Desert Swarm, AZ Desert Swarm, will join us. We'll talk a little Arizona basketball and football with him as he covers both sports. I believe he was down in San Antonio at the Alamo Bowl. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show, along with Kelvin Ifan and JW Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Blue Whale Car Wash, Caruso's Italian Restaurant, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, The Diamond Store, Goldberg and Osborne, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Nova Home Loans, Recon Auto Detail, Ride Now Power Sports Tucson Police Department.
Southern Arizona Radiology Associates have been dedicated to providing superior images and quality care for the last 35 years. They're the one you trust when you need an X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound, mammogram, or MRI. They have locations in Tucson, Green Valley, and Sierra Vista. Ask your doctor to refer you to Southern Arizona Radiology Associates today. That's Southern Arizona Radiology Associates. Visit their website at sararadiology.com or call 520-335-6849 for more information.
Old Pueblo Harley-Davidson is the pre-owned inventory destination with hundreds of pre-owned Harley-Davidson motorcycles to choose from. Save $2,000 or even $6,000 at Old Pueblo Harley's pre-owned clearance sale. Now through the end of the month, Old Pueblo is accepting 100% of all credit applications with low financing options available. Take a test ride and receive a free dealer tee. Only at Old Pueblo Harley-Davidson or online at oldpuebloharley.com. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park within the Vail School District. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rock & K with home savings up to $35,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
The window
Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
Frog and Firkin, a standout among the bars and restaurants in the University area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the University area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
The Meridian Wealth Management postgame show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290. It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
All right, let's talk to a gentleman that not only covers Arizona men's basketball, he covers Arizona football, baseball, all the major men's sports for AZ Desert Swarm. He is the senior editor over there. Brian Peterson joins us right now. Brian, are you back from San Antonio?
No, I'm going to wait until tomorrow, Saturday. I have family here, and it lucked out that the bowl game was in San Antonio, so I was already going to be here. So just spending a little extra time, and with men's basketball tipping off here in a little while, figure I'd cover it remotely from here and then fly home on the day in between the Bay Area games.
Well, there you go. There you go. We'll get to a little bit of what happened on the football side coming up. But number 4 Arizona basketball, 9-2 through the first 11 games with the gauntlet of a schedule that we've kind of talked about here, and playing all the ranked teams, high competition, 6 games, 5 against ranked teams. Alabama was ranked to begin the season. Just what was your overall assessment of how you felt the Wildcats came through the first part of their schedule?
Well, before the season began, I thought something like an 8-3 record during this non-conference would be pretty solid, especially since we didn't know what this kind of makeup of the team was going to be with the new transfers and the freshmen and having lost 4 starters and all that. And 8-3, I think, would have been pretty solid considering the competition. When they won at Duke, it was time to kind of reassess what this team could do, and they started to pile on the wins. And the Purdue loss was very expected considering the location and all of that. Nothing really surprising about that game other than maybe the part of the way they lost it in terms of leaving those 3-point shooters open. The Alabama game was a great example of resiliency and just sticking with what you do, and eventually it's going to pay off. The Florida Atlanta game, I can definitely see how that's upsetting to some fans and supporters, maybe because they didn't realize just how strong that team was and how well connected they are with bringing everyone back from the Final Four. And there certainly were some deficiencies in that game, particularly the inability to cover either of the guards, and not just Janelle Davis, but the second guard. I cannot remember his name right now, but that's kind of been a thing in their 2 losses, is that there's a big focus on the main guy, but then maybe a secondary person is doing something. But overall, I think considering Ken Palm rates it as the 14th toughest non-conference schedule in the country, to come out of it 9-2 is pretty noteworthy.
And I guess my biggest concern, and again, they're 9-2, they're in the top 5. They're probably right now sitting in a number 1 seed type of position, even heading into Pac-12 play. But obviously, you're going to look at this team and where it needs to get better. My biggest concern is that I don't see enough shot makers. You were talking about Janelle Davis. Elijah Martin, I think, was the other name you were looking for. That was a Florida Atlantic team, obviously experienced, 14 guys back, went to the Final Four, but that was a team where it looked like they had 2, 3, 4 guys who could make shots at the end of the game when they needed it, where for the Wildcats, it was Caleb Love. Caleb Love, you felt like, was the only guy that could make a big shot at the end of that game. What do you see as your biggest concern right now with this team heading into Pac-12 play?
That certainly would stand out to me as well, that who do you go to if not Caleb Love? And when you are expecting that to be who it is, then it's easier to kind of take that sort of thing away. Kylan Boswell has shown a willingness to do that at certain times, and he took that one at the end of regulation. But at times I've also seen him look maybe a little hesitant to be that guy. And then Keshad Johnson is more of an interior person. The incredibly baller move on that final play against FAU would have been to try to dump it into Ballo, and either he makes the basket or gets fouled, and that it comes down to that sort of situation. But I think they felt that Caleb would give them the best chance. That is certainly a concern. I'm also concerned a little bit with as far as this team is deeper. It's still only going 8, and this weekend I think is a really good chance to try to give some meaningful minutes before the game is out of hand to the number 9, 10, and 11 people, because when they have these kind of tight games, you're going to have some players foul out, and if you just get into foul trouble, and when you are limited in your options and your lineups with only 8 guys or 6 because 2 are in foul trouble or out, it really handicaps you. And I think that is something I'd really like to see this weekend.
Brian Peterson from AZ Desert Swarm is our guest, covers both Arizona football and men's basketball, as well as the other major sports baseball. He is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, I should say, celebrating 25 years of serving Arizona. What do you make of Kylan Boswell's struggles recently? One of the things we've talked about on this program is you've essentially got 4 new starters out there who are still kind of getting to know each other on the floor through some of these major ball games. He started the season so well, was shooting, I think we were calling him the 60-60-100 guy to start the season, because he was shooting 60% from the floor, 60% from 3, and 100% from the line. Now he's down to more pedestrian 44, 90, and he has kind of struggled to make that shot the last few games out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to put my finger on what it would be. I do see that when he gets hot, he wants to keep going, which is very much to expect. And then when he starts to miss a couple, he, rather than try to play through it or shoot through it, he just stops taking the shots, or he overthinks the shots. And that's not what a guy in that position would do. For all of Kirk Reese's flaws, if he was cold, he just kept shooting, and eventually a couple of them will go in. And you can fault him for that, but because it ends up with games where you're 1 for 13, but there could be other ones where you start 0 for 7 and then make 3 in a row. If you are uncertain about your shot because you missed 2 or 3 in a row, then and the opponent notices that you're passing up opportunities, or you're hesitating when you do have that open look, then they don't have to worry about you later on. So I think some of that comes with it, that he needs to maybe kind of push through that, or if he's not going to shoot at that, then focus on the distribution and maybe driving and kicking out, or becoming more of a decoy. But if he is noticeably taking himself out of the options for particularly a perimeter shot, then that allows defenses to just kind of sag off of him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, and he for sure has to stay aggressive, and I just think he's still learning. I mean, I think this is the first year really being a starter and really having the keys to the car, and it just takes a little time to understand how really to handle that. And I think he was struggling a little bit there. As I watch him, what I see is a guy that when you watch his shots, when he's knocking him down, he's really using his legs. Like, there's no messing around. It's one of the prettiest forms I've ever saw. But then when he's I call it kind of playing cool. He's kind of playing a little cool, right? Where, a little loose. Let's call it loose then. Where then he goes up a little bit. He's leaning a little bit. He's not as quite using his legs. I think when he uses his legs and he uses complete form and he's just playing just straight hooping, I think he's that guy that everybody believe he is.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and the form is not something I'd noticed, but I'll look for that tonight. I mean, there's also the point that he played all of last year, but it was in a supporting role, and he didn't really start to get much more the more important minutes in key situations till later in the season. He's at 314 minutes this year through 11 games. He did 532 in 35 games last year. So, he's already 60% of the way for last season, and we haven't even gotten to conference. So it is, the minutes are starting to add up, and you're getting a better sample size of what to expect from him. And you're going to have those bad times, and he just kind of has to power through it.
Is it fair, Brian, to say, look, he's still only 18 years old? I know, look, you're a sophomore, you're in college, you're in a major program, but he's still a very, very young player. And I think he's kind of seeing what it's like to be under the lights. I mean, there was a lot of things and a lot of, again, this fan base gets crazy at times, which I thought this fan base got crazy after the loss last week. And he's going to have to figure that part out as well. It's like, whoa, now I'm in the middle of it. I'm reading things. I'm reading comments. People are saying things about me. How he handles that, I think, especially this weekend coming off last week, is going to be very important for not only his future, but how he's able to run this team moving forward.
Yeah. Well, rule number one is never read the comments. I mean, that's a kind of an important thing, because
but we know they do.
People are either going to be they're either going to be overinflating you or throwing you under the bus and then pulling you back out to make sure that it gets the other half of you. So you kind of have to stay away from that. And I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, maybe this time off, the few days, just gives an opportunity to reset. And, getting this first weekend in the Pac-12, being able to I kind of refer to it as like a soft opening, because considering the quality of the teams in the league right now, this is probably the easiest road trip to begin the season with. So it can definitely be an opportunity for everyone to be building on that confidence.
And I was going to say, I think figuring out a way to pick his spots within the game flow, sometimes that's tough for a young guard that's, again, just getting the keys to the car, picking his spots, because I thought there were several times that he could have moved the ball a little bit and try to get going more off the catch and shoot instead of, off the dribble right off the first. You just right off crossing the half court, you're going right into the offense looking for a shot. You want that ball to move side to side a little bit in the half court and then attack. Yeah, and I just think that it's just going to be a matter of time again before he learns that stuff. And you're going against a team like Cal and Stanford this weekend. This is a great chance for him to continue to learn, how to lead a squad.
Brian, before we let you go.
Definitely.
Before we let you go, obviously you're down in San Antonio. You covered the bowl game last night, Arizona knocking off the Oklahoma Sooners. It looked like the Sooners had control of that game, and then Dalton Johnson made a play defensively that turned into a fumble return for a touchdown for Gunnar Maldonado. And just what was the feeling in the building when before that play happened? Because I was starting to see guys miss tackles, and I was saying to myself, man, this might not be the night. And then, again, they made another big play that kind of turned that momentum. It shifted right there, and things kind of all fell into place after that. But what was the overall feeling of what you saw kind of in that 25-0 run there for them to finish out that win?
before that, it was very, very surprising that the offense was having so much trouble because we hadn't seen that much at all these past 2 years. And it was putting extra pressure on the defense, and Oklahoma had started to figure things out. And on that drive before that scoop and score, there were the missed tackles, there were the wide open guys, there were the third down conversions, there were the things that we were seeing a lot more of last year and maybe a little bit early this year, and thinking, well, they met their match. But it's amazing how quickly things can change from that standpoint with just that lucky bounce. I'm very surprised that they ruled that as a catch and then a fumble instead of a pick six, but whatever the case, Maldonado returning that, it completely changes everything, especially then when suddenly the offensive line has maybe its best pass blocking of the night on the 2-point conversion. So now it's a 3-point game, and I mean, just like everyone, the momentum is swinging, and then 3 plays later, Irby picks off that pass, and when they only managed a field goal from it, you're again, see, this is really surprising. The offense is just not carrying its weight like it normally would. But then down the stretch, fourth quarter, they get those 2 touchdowns where the offense is working, where they're really showing how they've stayed fresh and are strong enough for that end like they've been all season. 17-0 in the fourth quarter, and then it's like, and the defense just continues, to get better with each drive at that point. And you're like, well, like this is the way that this season was meant to go, considering how it had been all year long.
Brian Peterson is he's a poker guy, so I'm going to ask you for some odds here, Mr. Peterson. What are the odds that there is a major departure from this football team in the offseason?
Well, I guess it would depend on your definition of major. I've seen one of those engagement accounts on Twitter positing the idea that T-Mac and Noah could go into the portal together as a package deal and command big money and the schools that would go after them. While nothing is impossible, I see that these guys were part of it from the beginning, and see that next year is where it could really all come to a head. And that, for someone like T-Mac, he's probably going to be the first receiver off the board in 25 and is going to get a very large contract. He's not going to go up much on the draft boards by going to an Ohio State or something to that effect. So I wouldn't really worry about any of the super major names. I think the Dorian Singer saga kind of maybe soured people on the idea of, the money may not be that big a deal if you're not going to get the opportunity you want when you can do all the things you can do here. That doesn't mean that Arizona's NIL people and all the boosters don't need to step up to ensure it. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe, one of the receivers that hasn't gotten as much opportunity, a couple linemen who are, not part of the main group, and maybe somebody like a couple of us were discussing afterwards, someone like a Gunnar Maldonado. Maybe he wants to go and get paid after for that last year because he just had this great finish to a year. But then again, would he want to step away from this thing that he was a big part of building for a paycheck? I don't know. That depends on what matters to people. It's not like he's not going to have that job next year.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Thought on that, Kelvin?
Oh, man. I don't know, man. I don't. Hey. Whew. I disagree with you. I understand where people coming from, man, but you can break your leg and you think they're going to give you that money?
No. Oh,
no,
I hear you.
No.
I hear you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Trust me. I hurt my ankle in the
bowl practice.
The bowl practice for Nebraska and didn't get drafted at all. And I guarantee you, with 17 leading the Pac-12, Pac-10 in touchdowns, 17 touchdowns, over 600 yards, winning team, captain, I was going to get drafted. All I had to do was run a decent time and couldn't run that time because I hurt my ankle. Now, if I could have, I would have left that year early and been a free agent and probably made a team as a special teams player and made a few $100,000. So I just seen guys, man, get the other side of it, bro. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, No, I mean, I can't be in their shoes because I don't have the assets and the skills that are marketable in that respect. I mean, every person, I wouldn't begrudge someone for going for a payout to do that, but I don't know if there's any from the main group, the key group, maybe the second tier of the contributors. Looking for something a little bit better to try to parlay what they've done.
I know they're caught up. When you win like that, you don't want to leave that. It feels so good to win after you've been losing like that.
Yeah.
So, I guarantee you're right. Yeah. I don't see T-Mac any of those guys. I do feel bad for him because I know a lot of money is going to be on the table, like generational wealth for his family. And you're right. He probably will potentially get to it. I mean, even though I've seen guys better than him not really go and perform well, I could think of a lot of receivers that were, probably a little better going into the NFL and things didn't really work out right. And with this time where guys can make more money than they can make in their rookie contracts, it's just hard seeing guys pass up that type of money, man. They, you earned it. So
certainly.
So I hope something happens with our collective where, they can start getting taken care of a little bit better because, I know as time goes along, I don't know. I say this, I don't know how long a Fish could stay around. If he win like this again, how long can he stay around and not really come up with money, the type of money to keep those type of players? Because it's going to be hard when those guys play so well as freshmen and sophomores to tell them to stick around 3 years and pass up about, a few $1 million or a few or even $1 million.
Well, I hope that guys like T-Mac, if they haven't already, are quickly looking into getting insurance policies for themselves.
Yes.
Because of that consideration between that looking ahead. I mean, the first 2025 mock drafts that come out after the 24 draft, he's going to be way up there.
Yeah.
And that it needs to be based off that because, you're not going to sit out the year. You're going to play, but there's that fear, what's going to happen? And so if you have a little bit of peace of mind knowing that you've insured yourself against future earnings in case of some sort of catastrophic injury, but that's always been there. But now there's the opportunity to be able to cash in while you're in school. And I'm totally for it. And I love seeing all these quarterbacks who are sticking around for 5th and 6th years rather than being a 5th or 6th round draft pick and might not make a team in the NFL. They're guaranteeing themselves some money now.
Yeah,
and
they are.
They'll still possibly get an opportunity, but at least they're taking care of themselves now when they are probably the most valuable that they'll ever be.
Right.
Well, Brian, get on over to the table in Vegas and see if you can get that big hand so you can help prop up the collectives.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Appreciate you,
Well,
Brian,
thanks
as
for having me,
always.
guys.
Indeed. Brian Peterson,
Alrighty, thank
AZ
you.
Desert Swarm. He does a fabulous job over there along with Kim Doss and the rest of the folks that contribute to providing you the coverage that they give you over at that particular online platform. All right. We'll have much more for you because that is our view from courtside.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
If you're a do-it-yourselfer looking for quality car parts in Tucson, look no further. Advance Auto Parts has 6 Tucson locations with over 75 years in business. Advance Auto Parts is the largest car parts retailer in the U.S., and customers know they can trust their products, like Die-Hard batteries. Now with free installation, only found at Advance Auto Parts stores. Take advantage of our same-day delivery and pickup. Just visit our website at stores.advanceautoparts.com and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Advance Auto Parts for all your car repair needs. Now a proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
Back to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Hey, Eugene, we waited a little too long to get our shopping done. The shelves are looking pretty empty.
I was thinking of getting everyone a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
We interrupt Eugene's great idea for this message.
Does your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh need a little maintenance to get road trip ready for the holidays? Check out jackfurriers.com for savings up to 50% off. Get your vehicle holiday road trip ready at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, here to get you there.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
What do you mean, trenchless?
Means no trench.
But it's the sewer line.
And they did it without ruining my yard.
The yard we're standing in?
The very same.
I don't know if I trust that.
I trust that because I trust them.
Them?
Ram Plumbing.
Locally owned and operated Ram Plumbing, offering a comprehensive range of plumbing services from fixtures to installation to trenchless sewer replacement. Turn to Tucson's most trusted plumber. When your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double. Online at bestplumbertucson.com.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Are you ready to adopt? Come to the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. When you adopt from us, you will save more than one life. You'll also make room for the next pet in need. The Humane Society of Southern Arizona has been compassionately serving pets and the people who love them since 1944. Our knowledgeable adoption matchmakers will help you find the right pet for your home and support you after you adopt. We are open 7 days a week at our main campus at 635 West Roger Road. Learn more and see adoptable pets at hssaz.org.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Did you spend money on your AC this summer? My friends at Rightway will give you back up to $3,000 for those repairs.
That's right. No matter who did the repair, we'll buy it back for up to $3,000 towards the purchase of a new heating and air system.
No repair bills this year? No worries. We will give you up to $2,000 trade-in plus 0% interest up to 60 months. Manufacturer rebates plus 10-year parts and labor warranty on a new heating and air system.
Have an aging heating and air system? Out of warranty? We'll inspect it absolutely free. Call Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290. The Pac-12 scoreboard is brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers, real growers, real experience, real nursery.
All right, 4 games in the Pac-12 conference tonight. It's the Washingtons against the Rocky Mountain Schools and the Arizonas against the Bay Area. First game of the night gets underway in about 10 minutes. That'll be in Salt Lake City. Washington State 9-2. Utah 9-2. Utes a 7.5-point favorite over the Cougars as those two teams get their main conference slate going on. And then down in Boulder, it'll be the Huskies and the Buffaloes. The Buffaloes are almost a 10-point favorite in this game over the Huskies, who come in at 8-3. Colorado is 9-2. Arizona State will open their play at Stanford. Stanford 5-5. Arizona State 6-5. The Cardinal 5.5-point favorite tonight at Maples Pavilion. And then, of course, the game that we will watch here, number 4, Arizona at California. The Wildcats are a 14-point favorite over the Golden Bears on the road. Top 25 college basketball. Not a lot of games on the slate this evening of note. Number 1, Purdue is in action, winning big right now at home against Eastern Kentucky. In fact, it does not look like there are any games on the slate involving 2 ranked teams. San Diego State, though, at 10-2, playing at Gonzaga tonight. That'll be a game to watch. The Zags, number 13 in the country, at 9-3. San Diego State comes in at 10-2. Illinois will host Fairleigh Dickinson tonight, 9-2 on the season, but the Illinois club reeling as they have now lost their best player this season, Terrence Shannon Jr., who has been arrested on rape charges from an incident back in September, and he is currently suspended indefinitely from the Fighting Illini situation. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we go. That's your scoreboard.
That's been the Pac-12 Scoreboard, brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers. Real growers, real experience, real nursery.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Let's find out who could be that California Golden Bear that gets underneath the Wildcats' skin tonight.
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at BePestFree.com.
All right, Mark Matson, as we mentioned, has got a lot of new players. We'll talk to Justin Allegri coming up in the final hour of the show and get a more of a clear picture of this Golden Bears ball club that comes in at 4-7. But J-Dub, who do you believe is going to be that player that kind of creates issues tonight for Arizona?
Well, I mean, the past few games I've been going with the lead guard, and I don't think it's going to be any different. I think it's going to be Tyson Jalen is the guy you got to watch out for, just because, again, when you're going up against a team with you're a double-digit favor, what you really want to watch out for is those guys in the backcourt getting loose, because then that can open up for everything else. So he's the guy I'm going to keep an eye on. You got to make sure, whether it's Boswell, KJ, even Pella, whoever gets switched out, you got to make sure you stay in front of guys and make sure you don't let those guys get going.
Calvin?
Yeah, J-Dub got my guy. Plano, Texas, one of my homeboys. So J-Dub got my guy, but I also had another guy who was 1B, Jalen Cone, the little point guard out of NAU. I think he was at West Virginia too, maybe, but was at NAU for a couple years, all-conference type of guy, knocked down a bunch of threes. I think he's still trying to find his way, but he's a guy, again, one of those shooters that could hurt us.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is a team that has had a lot of injuries. Devin Askew's only played in 4 games. Keontae Kennedy has only played in 4 games to this point of the season. So I'm going to go with Devin Askew. His aunt lives here. I know her. She lives in Tucson and raves about him. And he is, again, a young man that's been well-traveled at Kentucky and Texas and now at California. And if he can he's struggled, obviously, to find his shot in the 4 games since he's been back on. Well, 2-2. He played 2 games and got hurt. He's played, I believe, 2 games. Actually, he's only played 1 game, so 3-1. He played 3 games early, then missed a month plus, and now has played in 1 game since coming back. But if he begins to find his shot, he is the guy that's eventually probably going to help lead this team, the California Golden Bears. So I'll go with Devin Askew as my pest of the game today.
Jalen Cone's doing his Steph impression this year. That dude is averaging 10.5 3 attempts a game.
Wow.
10.5 threes per game.
That's a pest. Because at some point, them things falling. Some point, them things
he's knocking
falling.
He's knocking down almost 4 per game. So
yeah, I'll take it. I'll take 4.
All right. Those are the pests on the Golden Bears side of the coin tonight.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit BePestFree.com.
All right, 1 more hour to go here with us before we take you up to Reggie and Brian at Haas Pavilion tonight. They will be on the call for number 4 Arizona and the California Golden Bears. Jump on the hotlines right now, 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. Talking Arizona basketball, talking Arizona football as well, and whole lot more still to come. It's the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show. Countdown to tip-off, along with J.W. Madden and Kelvin Ifan, the captain, 1998. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Blue Whale Car Wash, Caruso's Italian Restaurant, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, The Diamond Store, Goldberg and Osborne, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Nova Home Loans, Recon Auto Detail, Ride Now Power Sports Tucson, Tucson Police Department.
Frog and Firkin, a standout among the bars and restaurants in the University area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the University area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Broadway in Tucson presents the Rockin' 2023-2024 season featuring 8 blockbuster productions including Disney's Aladdin, The Book of Mormon, Hairspray, and Chicago. Enjoy the Southern Arizona musical premieres of Tina, the Tina Turner musical, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Time of the Temptations, MJ the Musical, and Mrs. Doubtfire. Secure your choice season tickets today and get the ultimate in flexibility and the lowest prices all season. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your season tickets today.
Hi, it's Floyd, the family man with the family plan. Outdated HVAC systems will drive up your electric bill, drain your wallet, and peace of mind. Save now at Goodfellas with no payments or interest till 2024. Get a 30% federal tax credit, up to $2,000 off qualifying heat pumps. Trust Goodfellas. We're locally owned with thousands of 5-star reviews. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. Visit us at goodfellasac.com to schedule a no-cost estimate.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rockin' K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. And coming soon is Del Webb at Rockin' K, a 55-plus active adult community offering a rec center, world-class amenities that promote health and wellness, and new homes with refined interiors and stunning outdoor spaces. Live RockinK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
The new Blue Whale Car Wash, formerly Octopus Car Wash, is now open. They're locally owned and operated and offer many ways for you to save. Start now by downloading the Blue Whale Car Wash app. Then visit their website at bluewhalecarwashaz.com to find a location near you. Don't forget to follow them on Instagram and Facebook for even more savings. And for a limited time, their exterior-only wash is $5 at all 4 locations. Blue Whale Car Wash, proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
You've heard the term fiduciary when describing financial services, but do you know what that really means? The fiduciary standard requires firms to put the interests of the client above the interests of the financial advisor. This is Natalie Fernandez-Lee, and at Meridian Wealth Management, we intentionally structured our business as a true fiduciary and are in the minority of firms in the industry who operate that way. As I always say, our clients come first, and we mean it. Visit meridianwealthllc.com or call us at 719-1433 today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Tucson area attorneys. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. CordellCordell.com.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290. Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, still to come, we'll have our best bets. The over-under on this one is 158 tonight. Justin Allegri is going to join us. He is the new play-by-play man for the California Golden Bears. We'll chat with him in our scouting report segment. Keys to the game and starting lineups. All of that is still to come here as we take you right up till 7:30 tonight, and Arizona and the California Golden Bears. Brian Jeffries and Reggie Geary tonight on the call from Haas Pavilion at Berkeley, California. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. J-Dab, I wanted to play something here for the folks. We were talking about with Doug earlier about some of the big moments in this rivalry, I should say, and here was one of them.
Now, well, you don't give the defense a chance to get set. 58-58, California for the win to beat number one. Cobbs the fade. Oh, and no timeouts. Bear down, California. How do you like it, California? Got to get off the floor. The game is not over. There's still 9/10 of a second. Still 9/10. Mike Montgomery knows it. He's telling the kids.
Mike Montgomery was pushing folks. Get off the floor. Justin Cobbs. Remember Justin Cobbs?
I do. I remember him because of that shot.
Yeah. Biggest shot of Justin Cobb's life. Calvin Efon with the save, getting me back into my office here. Calvin, we were just watching the shot at Haas Pavilion that knocked off number one, Justin Cobbs.
The screen off Nick, right?
Yeah.
They got Nick off with the screen because Nick Johnson had him man-to-man, but they rubbed him off with the screen and got Torsuski switched on him, man. Great. Is that Randall?
No, that was Justin Cobbs.
Yeah, Randall hit one on us too, didn't he? Back in his day, yeah, man. Oh wow, yeah, I remember it was Cobbs, man. That was tough.
Yeah, that was the game in which the Wildcats had won 21 in a row heading into Haas Pavilion before losing that night. Brandon Ashley got hurt early in that game, and really, I mean, was that the best of the Sean Miller teams, in your guys' opinion?
I don't know, man. It's tough. I mean, I really liked the stability of TJ, and then I liked, the athleticism of the Rondé.
Stanley Johnson team?
No,
or the Rondé and Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, that was a really
team.
solid team there. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 are the numbers to get in on the program today. Let's see what this game looks like on the big board in Vegas.
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
I said Kelvin had the save there because the cleaning crew locked me out of my office. And I'm like, I hope they're still here. Kelvin went running down. This is a huge facility we have here.
Yeah, it is.
Kelvin fortunately found them at the other end of the building, and I am not going to have to walk home tonight, which
That's
is
why
good.
Kelvin gets up at 4 a.m. and does those sprints
That's
so he
right.
can run down the hall.
That's right.
Oh, man, it's a maze back through there, too. It's a maze.
It
It's
is.
a maze back
It
through
is
there.
indeed
I
that.
never knew. I had never really been on that side until we took the pictures, for the one. And I was like, what is all this?
It's real empty. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of businesses are like this, but pre-COVID, it was full. But that's like the whole sales wing, and a lot of people work remotely now. So a lot of those offices are empty. But definitely the other side of reception is that what you're talking about, Kelvin. Big area over there.
Yes.
All right, so Arizona is a 14-point favorite in this game. The over-under is 158 against the California Golden Bears. I'll start with you, Kelvin Ifan. What say you about this one tonight?
I think Cal is going to struggle to score. I think the guy's going to really have a lot to prove as far as really locking up on D, making sure they're not underestimating. So I say under.
So you're going to go. You're going to lay the 14 points and play under on this one tonight.
Yes.
All right. So Kelvin is U of A and under. J-Dub.
What was the total? Did you say?
Yeah, minus 14 is the line, and the over under is 158.
I think Arizona wins by 17, and I will say over.
Okay. Over has generally been the play for Arizona, and I'm going to stay with that as well. I'm going to lay the 14, and I'm going to take the over in this one because I think it probably will get up at least. I think Arizona will probably most definitely score in the 80s or the 90s, and I think Cal, which we said earlier in the show, they've raised their scoring average to right around 75. So I could definitely see over being the play tonight. So this is how it stands through 11 games. J-Dub and DK have separated themselves by one game on Kelvin. J-Dub and I are 14-8. Kelvin is 13-9. There'll be no movement really between J-Dub and Kelvin because they're on the same side. Or I'm sorry, I got this backwards, I think. I'm taking the over. I think I had. You took the under, Kelvin. So I wrote this wrong. So Kelvin, yeah, there will be some movement between Kelvin and the rest of the group tonight because he's taking U of A and the under. There'll be no movement with me and J-Dub because we both have U of A and the over. That's how it looks on the big board. We'll see if we were right or wrong coming up on the postgame show tonight.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, a couple of things I want to remind you that we've also got the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game this evening. Might be the Wildcat with the most rebounds, might be the U of A star with the most impactful boards. We will tell you the Window Depot glass cleaner of the game coming up tonight as well in the post-game show. And it is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show brought to you by Dave & Buster's, the best place to eat, drink, play while watching tonight's game between the Wildcats and the California Golden Bears. I do hope they have the Pac-12 network there. It is, who's on the call tonight? We got Guy Haberman and Don McClain. Guess who we've got in the analyst seat on Sunday, guys, for the first time this year? Mr. Bill Walton.
Whoa, Bill.
Mr. Bill Walton.
The Stanford, okay.
Will be in the analyst chair for his first U of A game of the season.
That will be must watch because you know how much he likes to prattle on about this conference. And so I don't know. I mean, I think I've heard I heard a really quick soundbite of Bill after the announcement that, you know, obviously we know UCLA and USC started all that. I've heard some comments from him, but I haven't heard a broadcast of Bill Walton since the Conference of Champions.
Yeah, I don't know that he's. I don't know that he's worked any games this season. At least none that I've seen. Obviously, none that have involved the University of Arizona. So it'll be very interesting to kind of see and hear from Bill and get his thoughts on everything that has happened. And again, it's like we were talking about earlier. It's just you look at these games and the memories that you have of these schools and Cal and Stanford and those battles in the early part of the century. And now those two teams are going to be heading off to the the ACC, and Wildcats will be dispersing to the Big 12, and it's going to be new teams and new rivalries, but it's going to, at least you'll have the memories of those games. Is there a Cal game, I guess, growing up, J-Dub, that stands out to you?
Not necessarily, to be honest. I mean, Cal during that stretch, especially in the early to mid '80s, they were not a great team. I really started paying really close attention right after KJ was there, wasn't he?
Kevin Johnson, yeah.
So I didn't really watch him when he was in college. I didn't pay close attention. More so right after that. But, bro, Stanford, there's like 100 games I could tell you about. I mean, Todd Lichty, Adam, what was his name?
Keith?
Adam Keith, yeah. I mean, those guys in the late 80s, early 90s, they were just so nails, and all the way through the mid 90s, and so many great memories with the Stanford games. Cal, it's weird because I remember the Stanford teams, and I remember the Cal individuals. Like, I remember dudes shining from Cal's teams over the years, and it felt like they were, other than maybe that stretch where Lamont and Jason Kidd played together, that was a good team. But Cal's rarely had a top 10, top 15 caliber team, but they always have some guys like Sharif and those kind of dudes who really shine. So it was always a tough matchup going up against some of those guys, for sure.
I'd forgotten Kevin Johnson played at California. I think those were probably my years in school.
He was there same as Reggie Miller, kind of. It was maybe 84 to 88 or 83 to 87, something like that.
Got drafted by my Cleveland Cavaliers, and then obviously went on to eventually became a popular player here in the desert for the Phoenix Suns.
And then he became a mayor.
Sacramento. Mayor of Sacramento.
That dunk on Elijah one.
Oh, yeah. Man, KJ
dunk
was
on Elijah
filthy.
one, man. Boy, that was a good team they had up there.
Hey, he helped save. I mean, Kevin Johnson helped save NBA basketball. And I mean, I don't know if that team would still be there.
Yeah.
If it was not for him. And look what they built, that beautiful brand new facility, which I got a chance to see last year when the Wildcats played in Sacramento. They light the beam, which is kind of something that ignites their fan base. And they've got a really good ball club with Mike Brown. One of the exciting young teams in the Western Conference in Sacramento now. So definitely, and that whole little area down there, I forget what they call it, down by the arena there it's a really nice, there's a lot of good restaurants and different social places and shopping and all of that. So they've really done a lot with that downtown sector of Sacramento to really kind of encompass that basketball department down there and keep the NBA strong. In the city of Sacramento.
Keegan Murray last week. You see that? I think he went 11 for 12 from 3.
Wow.
Yeah, and this through 3 quarters or something like that. And it was funny because Steph was in a post-game press conference after his game, and someone's like, "Did you hear about Keegan?" And he's like, "No, what's he doing?" And he's got about 6 minutes left, and he's 11 for 12. And of course, Steph and Clay have gone back and forth who has the most threes ever made in a game. The record, I think it was 12, 13, and now I think it's 14. But they were asking Steph because they were thinking maybe a second-year player, Keegan Murray, might be breaking that all-time record for most threes made in a game.
All right, real quick, guys. If we are going to see more minutes tonight for Matías Krivas, and that's the one guy that I thought would play more, what do we have to see from Matías Krivas for him to deserve more minutes and be on the floor more?
I think he has to be a little bit more physical defensively. I don't think offense is his problem. I don't think we really looking for offense out of him, even though when he's in the game, he usually finishes pretty well when he's around the bucket and everything like that. I think he got a couple balls, knocked down. I think he got pushed around a little bit. But I feel like that defensively, to me, he just has to, be a little bit more of a rim protector and just be a little bit more physical in the post.
Yeah, I mean, look, Wisconsin, old, strong, tough front line. Purdue, Zach Edey, right? Alabama, 15 guards running around like crazy, and FAU is very similar. So those 4 teams they just played, none of those teams are teams that you really want a freshman 7'4" guy playing against. Those are terrible matchups, all 4 of the last opponents Arizona's had. So any minutes that he's got, what I'm seeing is a situation where coach is putting him in, And then maybe if he doesn't box out correct, maybe if he doesn't make the right read on defense, he's pulling him out and maybe not giving him that second chance. But he's getting him in those games. You're looking at like 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes or whatever. In the last game versus FAU, their big only played like 24 minutes, and that was matched up with Ballo the whole time. So who was Krivas going to, again, Kelly,
that's what I was going to ask.
Who's going to guard? Yeah.
That's what I was going to
So, yeah, bad matchups these last, especially Alabama and FAU are not Mo Krivas games.
And then the people got to think about it like this as well, the people that say you need to play more guys. How many minutes do you take away from Keyshawn Johnson and Ballo to play him?
Yeah. You're already taking we talked about that, you're already taking minutes away from Ballo.
Exactly. So how many more minutes do you take away? If I'm going to have a 7-footer out there, it's going to be Ballo right now.
That'll be interesting seeing. Fardaz Amack will be the big man on the floor tonight for the California Golden Bears. We'll find out a little bit more about him, the voice of the Golden Bears. Justin Allegri will join us next. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, along with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly, getting you set for Arizona at California. You'll hear it right here on Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Did you spend money on your AC this summer? My friends at Rightway will give you back up to $3,000 for those repairs.
That's right. No matter who did the repair, we'll buy it back for up to $3,000 towards the purchase of a new heating and air system.
No repair bills this year? No worries. We will give you up to $2,000 trade-in plus 0% interest up to 60 months. Manufacturer rebates plus 10-year parts and labor warranty on a new heating and air system.
Have an aging heating and air system? Out of warranty? We'll inspect it absolutely free. Call Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
Caruso's, a Tucson tradition since 1938, located on historic 4th Avenue. For 4 generations, Caruso's handmade sauce has been prepared with love by a family member, using only the best ingredients. Enjoy specialty Italian dishes like lasagna al forno, chicken tetrazzini, real Italian sausages, spectacular pizza, as well as many vegetarian options. Caruso's offers outdoor dining on their garden patio with indoor dining also available. Open Tuesday through Sunday, with all your favorites available for takeout. For more information, call 520-624-5765 or visit their website at carusositalian.com.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really mattered, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
Discover Rocking K, a community designed by nature, built for you. Embrace the beauty of the Rincon Mountains' high desert foothills. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park. Bordering Saguaro National Park, Rocking K is conveniently located to our region's major employers and nationally recognized Vail School District. Tour 10 model homes by 4 award-winning builders and discover why more people are calling Rocking K home. LiveRockingK.com. Proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcast.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290. Our 1290 Scouting Report is brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double.
All right, let's take a closer look at tonight's opponent, the California Golden Bears. Pleased to be joined by the first-year play-by-play man for Cal, Justin Allegri. It is the begin, and you guys have got it all confused up there, I think. Justin, what you got Mark Matson, who is coaching the Cal Golden Bears, and Troy Taylor, who's coaching the Stanford Cardinal. A little bit of a difference there with each being an alum of the other school. But let's talk about Mark Matson's first season through these initial 11 games. How would you kind of judge what has happened? There's a lot of new guys, and there's been a ton of injuries.
It is a little confusing, isn't it? Yeah, Cal fans are pretty happy that Coach Matson's here. He just brought a lot of energy over the course of the offseason, and obviously in his recruiting process. And it came from a program that he turned around and made into something relevant in a lower level conference, and now he's trying to do the same here. And I think you're seeing signs of moving forward in the right direction. I think there are still some things that he would like to improve on. He would like the guys to do a little bit better here and there. And they're at the point in their season where they're a 4-win team, but they feel like a few possessions here or there, and that win-loss total kind of flips around. There were a couple of games lost by 3 points, a couple of games in overtime that they've lost to some pretty good teams. So they feel as though they're right on the cusp, and they haven't been healthy yet this year for a full roster. So that's also something they're looking forward to. And now that they're in conference play, they've got to get some things right, and hopefully that starts in the next few days. It's going to be challenging, though. They know they're jumping into the deep end of the pool tonight.
Yeah, we know we've been kind of keeping it. One of the obviously signature wins was the 15-point victory over Santa Clara. We've been kind of keeping an eye on that team because there's a former Arizona Wildcat up there in Adama Ball. I guess what was the emphasis and things that allowed them to play well in that particular game?
Well, the things that have allowed them to play well in their wins, and I think you're right, that was the most impressive win so far this year. It's been the ball movement. This is a team that the assist totals in the first 5 or 6 games of the season, they were in the single digits, and they just weren't moving the ball as efficiently as they should. And I think a lot of that had to do with guys that just hadn't played with one another yet in a game situation. And sure, you try to emulate that in a scrimmage, but it's just not going to pan out. And you've got a lot of transfers that are playing with each other for the first time that really hadn't gelled yet. And they're starting to see more of that. I think the Butler game, even though it was a loss in double overtime, was a real good example of that. But when the ball movement is moving around, you're getting those assist totals up, that's when this team's at their best. We just haven't seen that in a consistent form yet. It also helped, I think, that Keontae Kennedy was able to come back and play in that game. From a defensive standpoint, this team was really struggling at the beginning of the year, and I know one player may not make a huge difference, but just the energy that he brought and the way he plays defense, I think, helped spur the team a little bit more, diving on the floor after loose balls, that type of thing. And Keontae Kennedy made a big difference in that game in particular, and they were just hitting shots. So that was their best win of the season. We saw a little bit of that style of play at Butler, but then it kind of fell away against Ole Miss. So it's hit or miss right now, and that's one element that this team needs to try and focus in on and try and find some consistency. And maybe that's just over the course of the season, they get more time under their belt playing with one another, and you see a little more consistency.
Justin Allegri is the play-by-play man for the Cal Golden Bears, providing today's scouting report, and that is brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, Call Ram on the double. You mentioned Keontae Kennedy, 6'5", transfer guard out of Memphis. Now, when you mentioned also the injuries, so we'll start with him. He missed the initial part of the season. Was he still recovering from the injury last year, or was that a new injury?
No, that was something he sustained in the course of the practices leading up to the regular season, and it was just a nagging thumb injury on his non-shooting hand that they didn't really want to push until he was ready to go. So it's not like there's a leg injury or anything like that, which is why you're seeing his minutes be as high as they are. I think he's got something like 37 minutes per game through his first 4. So it was just the offhand that they weren't confident that he would be able to go with. And now that that's fully ready, it depends. I think last game he was wearing still a wrap over that thumb. I'm not sure if he will today, but they're trying to be as cautious as they can with that because he's very valuable to this team.
Obviously, the big injury was to senior guard Devin Askew. He is, though, back, played against San Diego. And where is he? It was a foot injury there. Kind of where is he in his recovery process? Only played 12 minutes in that game against San Diego. Is there in the anticipation that he's going to have to be ramped up?
Yeah, I think there was a minutes restriction in that game just because it was his first back. And, you know, if you ask Devin, and I know that Bear fans know him from last year and probably Arizona fans know him from last year too, but it's a different looking Devin Askew this season because he's not having to be the guy that constantly puts up the shots and constantly is asked to score the basketball. He's now kind of shifted his role into the distributor, into the point guard, and to really run the offense. And I think we've seen some positive strides from him in that regard. And it's tough. You know, you ask a senior to do that after he's been that guy in the previous seasons, and you don't know how he's going to respond mentally, how his approach to the game is going to be. And I give a lot of credit to Devin because he's really risen to that occasion. And then he goes down with the injury. And so he was still kind of vocal on the sidelines. He was working his way back. And I don't know how many minutes he'll play tonight, but they'll ramp that restriction up and see how long he can go. But when he's on the floor, it really helps the other guys off the ball. And I think we're seeing a lot of positive things when he's playing the point guard position this year.
Justin, we had one of Coach Madsen's old teammates, Casey Jacobson, on last month, and he kind of described Madsen as a player is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde, that off the court, he was one of the sweeter guys. On the court, we know that mad dog personality. Observing him in his first year there at Cal, how is his demeanor on the sidelines? Do you see flashes of that player that we all remember as Arizona fans in the late 90s over there at Stanford? Or is he really just as calm and trying to get all the players to follow that kind of that example?
Oh, there is some passion there. I mean, he is one of those coaches that loves the game, right? And because he played the game, I think he tries to get as much out of his players as he can as possible. And, you know, behind closed doors and film sessions and things like that, he's got the passion, but he's also very good at communicating to the players. This is what I'm seeing. This is what we'd like you to do. You know, let me hear from you. You can tell that he's from a perspective of a former player and what maybe those players would want to hear and making sure that they're being able to have their own voice as well, which is great. When he's on the floor, though, I mean, he's got some passion. He wants to see good basketball, and he fights for his team. He wants to see this team play as best as possible. So, yeah, I would say it's not maybe as drastic as what we saw when he was on the court in the NBA uniform, but
right.
It's right up there.
Now, as far as his philosophy as a coach, we know that there's a lot of transfers. 4 top players are all transferred in for the first year. Do you get the impression that Coach Madsen down the road will run more of an interior style? I understand there's a very guard-heavy system up there at Cal right now. Is that just a situation with the portal and the personnel that they had on campus to begin with? Or long-term, do you see Coach Madsen maybe going a little bit more, maybe the style that Coach Lloyd is going with, a little bit double bigs and that type of play?
Yeah, I think he would want to run that. I just don't know if that was what was presented to him in the offseason. I think his whole goal in the offseason was, one, he wanted to keep a few players around, the guys that he felt were talented, and he wanted to to honor some of the recruits that were still coming in, but then he also identified, hey, we've got to get much better just overall our roster. So that's where he went out in transfer portal and found some guys that he thought right now could play and make an impact and win some games. And so when you're in your first year and you're trying to turn the program around, I think that's a logical way to go about it. And then you talk to him now and say, all right, what's the plan for the future? Well, there's a certain level now where you say every year we're going to have to bring in some transfers. Every year we're going to have to turn over a roster spot that we might not be thinking about. But then also we've got to try and develop a few guys here and there. And I think those development type players is where you're going to get the bigs. Sure, you can find a big in a transfer portal, but I think if you're Coach Madsen, you get a younger guy that maybe has some potential. You try and develop him for a year or two, and then you see what he can do. I think those are the projects he's going to look at moving forward, and then that's when you'll see the play style try to evolve around the roster buildup. But for now, I think he just went out there and said, we got to get some impact players that'll make decisions in the game, make an impact in the game, win a game for us. And there are several guys that have that talent level right now, but they just haven't played together as a unit yet this season, and that's what we're seeing.
We're joined by the voice of the California Golden Bears, Justin Allegri. His appearance in our scouting report is brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. We were talking about some of the players who have been kind of coming along slowly due to injuries. Another one of those players is Jalen Celestine. Seems like, though, he missed a month as well there, going on his fourth game back tonight. Looks like he kind of started to find his scoring threat there in the win over San Diego.
Yeah, I think he was a guy that coming into the season was a little bit of a question mark as to where he fit in to the system, because he's got that body where you can play him as a 3, you can maybe play him as a 4, and you didn't really know where his skill set would fit in and where the minutes were going to come from for him. Because when everything's right, when you've got Tyson and Grant Newell and Jalen Cone and Fardaws Amack, they're rolling. So, Celestine's probably the 6th, maybe the 7th guy. So if you're using him in that role, I think that's a pretty good option to have coming off the bench to do a variety of things. And we really haven't seen him hit his stride. He came on his first game against St. Thomas and put up a career-high 21 points, and you're thinking, gosh, if we can get somewhat that type of production throughout the course of the season, we're going to be all right. But it hasn't been as consistent for him, and he's had that nagging foot injury as well. But when he's right, he makes an impact in the game. He'll step out and he'll hit a 3. He'll go inside, he'll score in the post. And he'll be good in transition. So that's one of those role players that I think when you're talking about moving forward and the depth of the roster, he's one of those guys that you're going to count on him for valuable minutes down the stretch. And it's nice to see them come back and be more available. And he started a couple of games this year. So he'll be one of those players you have to keep your eye on.
And you mentioned Fardaws Amack. I mean, he's been a solid guy in the post. I believe he's got 8 double-doubles already this season. What has Mark liked about the way that he's kind of, solidified himself into the lineup as one of those transfers?
Well, Coach Madsen knows him. He was with Coach Madsen at Utah Valley a couple seasons ago before he went to Texas Tech. So they had a great relationship prior to that, and which is why Fardaws ultimately decided to come to Cal. But he's kind of a do-everything guy. Obviously, the rebounding and the point-scoring numbers speak for themselves. What we've seen from Fardaws is trying to adapt defensively this year. It's been a big thing for him because there have been so many teams this year that have stretched him out, kind of made him defend the perimeter, and then gashed down low. And that really worked well for opponents early in the season, and now we're starting to see Fardaws trying to figure that out and really stay better defensively. I'm intrigued, though, because every time we've seen a true big go up against Fardaws in a one-on-one situation, those matchups have been a lot of fun to watch. He's also been working about not fouling as much. Defending without fouling has been a big talking point for him this season. But when the rebound totals are that impressive, he does make an impact in the game. And so when you have 2 bigs going at it, that's always something that you're gonna look at. But if he gets into foul trouble, then there's a big hole defensively in the big position. So In this game in particular, he is going to be a major factor. And even if he doesn't score as much as maybe we're expecting him to, he's got to play some solid defense tonight.
And before we let you go, Justin, just on you, we mentioned your first year as the voice of the Cal Golden Bears, and on the football side, stepping in for the legendary Joe Starkey. No easy task to replace a legend like that.
No, yeah. Hey, just go in and call your first season after 48 years from somebody else doing it. Yeah, no problem, right? Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Joe, we've talked weekly throughout the football season. In fact, we had him on as part of our pregame show this year as a segment we called This State in Cal History with Joe Starkey. As you guys know, learning the history of a program is not done overnight, and it's not as though I was unfamiliar with the program, but you just don't know the intricacies of a program. And so when you have somebody around like that, and Mike Pulaski, who was my on-air partner this year, had been doing it for several seasons and was a player there in the 90s for Cal. So you have those type of guys around. You can really help yourself learn just the history and what the fan base cares about and what's important to everybody. And that was really nice. Aside from just all the fun that we've had on the air, but that was really nice.
Yeah, and one more before we let you go again, Justin. Obviously, a transition across college athletics with the Wildcats getting set to head to the Big 12. What's the talk within the Cal family about the Golden Bears transition into the ACC?
Well, look, when I got the job, I was signed up for the Pac-12. I was thinking flights to Arizona, flights to Washington, no problem. And now we're talking about North Carolina and Boston. So, yeah, it's going to be a big transition. I think, from a football perspective, it's not as daunting of a change because you're only going to go across the country a few times. Maybe that means an extra day of travel for them. For basketball, it's a much more challenging proposition, not only because of the competition level in the ACC, which we all know about, but you're talking about, a flight to go play Duke in North Carolina, and then you come back across the country and play 2 games in California, and then you fly back out again, and you may be playing Pitt and Notre Dame. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's gonna be pretty challenging. I think the travel just in general will be challenging. What I'm thinking of is how that's going to affect recruiting, because sure, you can say you're in the ACC, you're one of the highest basketball conferences, playing nationally televised games against top tier opponents, but how do you sell that travel, and how do you sell coming back and forth all season long? So it'll be interesting to see how that is approached. From an athletics perspective, I think it really was the only option. I think the Bears wanted to stay in the Power 5 conference, especially for football, and there weren't really many other options. I think they tried as hard as they could at their other options, and they just weren't on the table. And so they had to take what was still available and kind of figure it out after that. And we're still in that process, and still don't know what a lot of the logistics will look like next year for the Olympic sports and for men's and women's basketball. But I think they're happy to be in a spot right now where we know that there's so much turmoil and so many different talks of conference realignment still. But you've got to find a spot, and you've got to keep going forward, and that's what Bears ultimately did.
Well, if these kids are anything like I was as a basketball manager at the University of Southern California, they'll love the travel, because that was my favorite part of it, was the long road trips, leaving on a Wednesday and not coming back till Sunday. I absolutely loved it, and we'll see. Like kids may be different todays, but the travel was the best part of it for me back in the day. Justin, continued success. Congratulations on becoming the new voice of the California Golden Bears, and we look forward to maybe talking to you at least one more time before this conference disperses into whatever the future holds. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
That's today's 1290 Scouting Report, brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after any accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Back to the holiday shopping adventures of Eugene Snarkle and his best friend Doug.
Hey, Eugene, we waited a little too long to get our shopping done. The shelves are looking pretty empty.
I was thinking of getting everyone a giant-sized bag of Cheezos.
We interrupt Eugene's great idea for this message.
Does your car, truck, SUV, or sleigh need a little maintenance to get road trip ready for the holidays? Check out jackfurriers.com for savings up to 50% off. Get your vehicle holiday road trip ready at Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, here to get you there.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
Don't let heating or plumbing problems spoil your holidays. I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. We'd like to wish you a safe and happy holiday season and a very Merry Christmas. When you need us, call 520-440-4069 for honest service to the Tucson area for over 22 years.